What is going on, guys? Welcome back to a new episode of Moose Tracks Podcast. For those of you who don't know, my name is Moose. I'm the host of this podcast. So what we basically do is just sit down with some friends and have some crazy, fun, cool, weird conversations that you guys probably have in the privacy of your own home. Today, I'm bringing two of my really good friends that we have known since we were probably fetuses. I'm with Asmaa. How you doing, Asmaa?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. And I'm with Fatima. How we doing?
I'm good. Not really my name, but go on.
Wait, I'm sorry. Wait.
No, you're totally good.
I thought you didn't like Faz, though.
Oh, I don't. Oh, that's just in the. Can you explain?
Fatima Zohra. You want Fatima Zohra?
No, I like Zohra or Zara. That's my identity.
Oh, why didn't
that's
you
her
tell
identity.
me?
No, I'm chilling. You can
I
call
might
me
edit this out.
like
I'm so embarrassed.
No.
Hi, Zohra. How are you?
No. Just you can keep it. For Moroccans and Algerians, it's fine. I don't really care. But if I'm talking,
we're cool. We're homies. So Zohra.
Yeah. Okay.
I think Zohra's such a pretty name.
All right.
Wait, thanks.
Well, I think it's so pretty. I would name my daughter Zohra. I think it's so cute.
You're gonna name her after me?
I'm actually naming her
Cute.
after you.
I love her already. Okay.
Oh my goodness. Well, if you guys can already tell from the title of this episode, we're gonna be talking about our culture, our heritage, how we grew up. So me and Asmaa are both Algerian.
That's true. Same city too.
Same city, Wahran, 3-1.
I don't know what any of that means.
And Fatima, would you say Moroccan? Would you say half Algerian or a percentage?
Zahra,
Should we start? Oh my god! I said Fatima again. Oh my god!
This is flowing. You're fine. I am a 3/4 Moroccan, and then my grandmother is fully Algerian. So I'm here
so
for you guys.
embarrassed.
I'm here for you.
I just said Fatima.
You're all good.
Zohra, yes. Do you want it? Well, drop the cred. Tell everyone about your family history real quick.
Oh, T.
Flex on us,
okay.
Yeah, go ahead, do it.
Flex on us.
Yeah, so my grandmother, her last name is Ben Billa. So her uncle was basically the first president of Algeria, Ahmed Ben Billa. Look him up. I'm not lying.
The flex.
So I got some royal blood in me. So,
I wish you guys could see this, the Algerian flag I've hung up. My grandma's right behind her.
Right behind
And she's,
you.
representing it. She's
I'm literally,
very
the princess
regal
of Algeria.
Yeah.
Very
Okay,
regal.
I'm gonna... Zahra, I am so sorry. Yeah, guys. So, I just gotta make sure that does not happen again.
You're
But...
fine.
The whole basis of this podcast episode I want to do was just because I just kept thinking over and over again. I was like, I don't want to sit here and do an episode where I'm like, oh, it's my culture. Oh my god. You know what I mean? I wanted to just almost because it's a lot of things we can relate to. We're both around this, us three are around the same age. And, we go through a lot of similar experiences, and we go through even more similar experiences being from the same culture. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So not even just being in our early 20s and in school, but being Algerian and Moroccan especially, it's probably
Hold up. He said Morocco. You're already going with the anti-Moroccan sentiment off the jump.
No, I meant to say especially a girl.
Hey, Morocco, sit this one out. It's not for you.
He said especially as a Moroccan.
Must be hard.
I meant to say, you see what I mean? I'm like, no, I'm just so embarrassed already from the beginning. I meant to say,
you're
especially as a girl, it's probably...
Especially as a Moroccan
Girl, yeah.
It's
Specifically
probably,
Moroccan
it's
girl.
probably,
No, you're right.
All right.
Totally.
I don't know why I'm rambling. Point of this is we're going to sit down and just talk about how we grew up, and hopefully you guys find it entertaining. If it's not entertaining already enough, let's just jump right into it, all right?
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So, real quick, for anyone who doesn't know and who doesn't, who is not educated on themselves, we're from North Africa.
Yes.
It's a region in
Yup.
Africa,
Yes,
in North.
Specifically the Maghreb region.
Yes.
Which is very different from, actually some censuses classify MENA, the Middle East, North African, kind of as one. Don't see as a North African. I feel like general consensus here, it's not something we love just because we're not all the same.
Yeah, no.
The Maghreb region, I think, consists of Algeria, Morocco, Tunisia, and Libya.
They don't count Egypt.
They don't count Egypt because Egypt is culturally.
That's what they are. I love Egypt.
Let me not get political about Egypt.
Dunya, we said.
Dunya, yes.
Tahiyya Masr.
Tahiyya Masr. This just turns into an I Love Egypt podcast.
What's their...
No, I'm gonna get the whole North African community. It's all gonna be their views in
You're
this.
gonna be
Honestly,
what did you say?
No.
But Egypt, I think actually, because culturally they're just way more Middle Eastern, and kind of associate with that. So it's funny because they're still in Africa, but
they're nah.
They're
chill.
They're not part of that region that we, I think, identify more with.
But even with the census, I don't think it's fair to group us as MENA. Our, with all due respect, our socioeconomic status, everything about us, because we're more recent immigrants,
for sure.
I think a lot of Middle Eastern people are more well established in their career. They're just, you know, we're out here working Dunkin' Donuts. They're out here at MGH. Like, we're not the same.
We are not one.
But we're getting there.
We try to applause Sal. Like, no, literally.
And also,
but for data wise, it's not really fair.
Even like Algeria is relatively a baby as a country. We're literally 50 something years old, and in which case, like, post-colonialism is already hard to bounce back from, and the country in itself. And then when people are leaving the country too, like, we're leaving with not much because we're already trying to leave in general.
They're trying not to make them leave.
Yeah,
I heard it's like, not to get into like immigration law, but I heard it's like hard now to like leave Algeria.
Yeah, France has such like, not like as much of a hold as before, obviously, but like still has like a hold government-wise on like a lot of Algerian politics.
Because they fly to, they go to France.
Yeah.
They go to South France.
Yeah.
How, in Morocco, I mean, from your family is like, probably stories they've told you, like, was it, because I feel like in Morocco, if we're going to be just straight up, is a bit more established than Algeria. I feel like they're, like, not capitalism, but like, I feel like they're more of like, I don't know how to explain this. Like, they have like a Starbucks in Morocco. You know what I mean? And they have a McDonald's in Morocco. Algeria, that's not a thing. You know what I mean?
I think we just have like more of like a
Western influence.
We have a presence in terms of like the West. Like you mentioned, we were just talking earlier. You said that we were like the first country to recognize the U.S. as an independent country.
Representation.
Yeah, and also like our tourism sector is like a lot of, you know, it makes up a lot of our economy. So it's like. Yeah.
I mean, the movie
it's
Casablanca.
a lot easier to get. Yeah, exactly. It's a lot easier to get in. You have like white people who are like, yeah, you know, I'm gonna do my honeymoon.
I'm going
Marrakesh.
Well, what's that club in Casablanca? Is it Kesh? I don't know. Someone told me about this like huge club in Casablanca. It's like, I don't know. I probably shouldn't be knowing this because like
I'm don't know. I'm like I know the mosque.
This is so bad. No, I heard it once. Like they go to this club.
No.
I don't know, but yes, I agree.
There are tons of clubs.
Yes, it's a very Algeria. Like I don't. You go way more than I do.
I do. I think that
I've been 3 times.
Okay, so I think that, again, like you were saying before, I think Morocco has like a huge Western presence because of how tourism, it thrives a lot on tourism, so a lot of people are more able to go, and because of that, it's more known, if that makes sense. Like Algeria, obviously, you need a visa to enter, except for like certain countries, and I think it's like neighboring countries too that like are good to, maybe. Actually, I'm not even too sure. But you need, which makes it way more limited. Granted, only people from the surrounding areas are going to go visit if that's the case. And because of that leads to people not knowing too much about Algeria or what it's like in there. So they're not going to be like, oh, let me pick a spot on the map and just go there. Like, especially if you've never even been in that region of the world. Like, I think it's more different. Like, I was actually just at my friend's birthday like a few weeks ago, and her mom is Syrian, but her mom was raised in Algeria, so she goes back because she has friends there. So like I feel like when there's more of a purpose to return, or like you know people that know people, or like stuff like that. So it's because it's not as available, I would say, to people. It's less known about. But I mean, at the same time, I think as an Algerian, I kind of like that. I kind of like that because I think Algeria has.
You guys are like exclusive.
It's like VIP. No,
you can only get in if you know someone.
Yeah,
like
period. Do you know the bouncer?
Yeah.
No, okay. I don't know. I think because Algeria
the bouncer, like the army guy at the
no.
airport.
Literally
gendarmerie. What bouncer? Like your military controls your country.
Period. It's literally, I don't know. I think Algeria has a charm for me because of that. Like it just feels like more homey.
Oh, it does?
To me personally. Like I genuinely love going.
Where is the charm? Is it like in the pollution or in the way? You know, I'm kidding.
Didn't we have a divide conversation coming up?
I'm not one to talk.
No, I don't know. It definitely is in the pollution and the trash for sure. But I don't know. I think family wise and just in general, like the only people I see in Algeria besides Algerians or like French Algerians or like other people, other Algerians. Pied noir. Yes. So
I have a story about that.
That's why I don't know. It just feels like you're all relinking from your respective nations to the motherland. I don't know. I think it's cool.
I wish I had good experiences when I went.
You're also a guy. I feel like it's interesting.
I had traumatizing experiences. First time I went, I was 6. We went for 3 months. We went from beginning of June, last week August, and I just don't remember much. I remember like heat and like a haze. And like just like and just like not wearing the same shorts and tank top for like a week because my cousins took all my clothes, like something like that. Then I went back when I was 12 or 13, and 3 months again because my parents were like, these tickets are expensive. We're staying long. But okay. So my dad is from Wuhan, where our family is from, and I had more fun there because it was in a city.
Yes.
My cousins are like out and about. They take you places. But my mom is from a really tiny town called Sieg in Algeria.
Oh, like near Moscow, right?
Yeah. And my cousins.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And I know everyone who doesn't. I just feel bad for anyone who's already like viewing my podcast. They're gonna like tune in and be like, what the hell are they talking about?
These areas.
I'll help them out.
I'll just
It's
attach it.
close to. It's like 30 minutes to an hour out of Wuhan.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
I'll attach a map when we talk.
More countryside.
Yeah, and okay, here's the thing with that is like, I like my mom's side of the family's heartwarming people. They don't have much, but they'll give it. You know,
it'd be the dad's side.
It'd be
the
don't
dad's
even get me
side.
started. The dad.
That'd be problematic.
Yeah, literally.
No.
But I remember we went, and we were only supposed to stay for 3 nights. We stayed for 2 months.
Your mom's side?
And my mom's side.
Oh.
My dad had a beautiful home. Like, I had my own room. Like, it was a pool.
Why did you stay 2 months?
Just problematic issues, I guess, and we had to relocate for the rest of our vacation.
Heard.
But, I mean, like, at the same time, though, I was like, guys, like, I'm like, Ma, there's one light bulb in, like, the living room. Not even, like, a cover. That we all share. Like, there is 14 of us here. Why are we having a wedding in the backyard? We can't fit everyone. I don't know. I just didn't have fun. I felt
humble.
Like it's amazing how you can go to the same place and have completely different experiences. Like I loved going to Algeria. Like I think my most memorable time of going to Algeria is actually like my favorite summer ever is when I was 11, and that's because I was I was young, but all my cousins were young too. So this is all of them pre-marriage. Like everyone's in their teens, and like I literally just remember like I was mad cool with the neighbors too. Like they would play soccer and the kids. Like it was very like I lived there, and it was like everyone would come to visit us because they knew we were coming. So like everyone was more active. Like I think Algeria is fun when everybody wants to take you out, and we were in Wuhan too. Like my parents are actually neighbors, so that's why they're both from literally Plaza Wuhan. So they're both like I've always just been in Wuhan like growing up. But I really loved it because like they were so proactive and they wanted to take us out, and like Wuhan there's a lot to do. It's like very.
So I wish
it's like there. Yeah, so that's why like I feel like you would have enjoyed it more if you stayed.
Yeah, no, I was.
It definitely depends how it's spent. Did you go another time after that?
Yeah, we went to go visit like for like weddings and stuff, but I was like, can I stay?
Yeah, because you just weren't trying to.
I think going back to Bled or like your home country, it's always better when you have more autonomy. If you can like rent a car, drive to different places, like Constantine.
I was
gonna say we also Algerians have this tendency to never harkumin blast. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't leave their area, so like there's so much to see.
But it's like your parents are going because you want to.
They're not going to entertain you.
I'm like, let me get a rental car.
Yeah, they're like, I haven't seen my sister in like years. I'm hanging out with them. But do you go to Morocco often or?
Yeah, we used to go like every single year, but now we go like every other year, every 2 years.
Yeah.
But no, I definitely think as I've gotten older, I've enjoyed it more because I've been able to see more. Like, as you're older, you just have, like I said, more autonomy to go and explore.
Are you from the city or are you guys from a small town?
So my mom is from Casablanca, which is like the dusty, crusty, like polluted area, which and my dad is from Oujda, so it's essentially like on the border of like Morocco and Algeria. So in the summer, oh my god. I'm the TM spelling. My parents never argue. My parents like, alhamdulillah, everybody say mashallah.
Mashallah.
Thank you. I think, they have a pretty good marriage going on, I feel. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but I feel like the only time they fight is when we go to Morocco. And my mom wants to go to Casa to see her family, and my dad is like, I'm trying to go to Oujda and like visit my family.
As both should.
Yeah.
And
it's not like, let's split it up. Like, no, we're staying the whole time.
And the older I've gotten, the more I've like played a mediating role, and like they're like arguing in the airport, and I'm just like, can we please get out of here? And
this isn't planned before you land. This is just
happening
live in the airport.
It's because my mom goes in thinking like, yeah, she's gonna call her brother and he's gonna come pick us up, but then my dad's like, no, we're gonna take a taxi to my grandmother's apartment so we can wake up at 5 a.m. the next morning and go to Oujda.
Wait, what's that Kim Kardashian meme when she's crying and like, not the diamond earring one, the other one where she's like,
she's always crying.
Her wedding, it's like, I think I feel bad. I feel sad. That's just what I imagine you in the airport telling your parents.
No, and my like younger brother's like low key traumatized. He's like, I thought this was like a vacation, and now it's like a family war. Yeah, it's a big
Civil
deal.
War.
Oh my god, that's funny.
But
I don't know. I feel I'm gonna give it another chance when COVID decides to calm down.
You're older now.
I was gonna say, the thing is, like, well, do you have cousins your age, like, that you're cool with? That's another, that plays such a large role, I feel like, because you're also a guy, so there's more freedom for you. For me, like, I'm a girl, and also, like, I enjoyed it with my cousins, but because I was able to, like, I would never be able to go out by myself.
Yeah,
like, I don't think I'd want to either, to be honest. But it plays a role where you guys already have more freedom, and if you're, like, limited, well, Tenny, you're not living there, so they wouldn't want to send you out alone either.
No, but, like, I remember hanging out with them when I was, like, 12, 13, and, like, I didn't want to do what they were, like, just... I was like, damn, like,
it's a cultural.
I don't know. I want to go. Next time I go, I'm gonna see my family. I'm gonna go thinking like 2 to 3 weeks. I'm gonna go see my family for like 2 days max.
Spot too. I went to the last time I went to Algeria was 2 weeks, and I felt like it was like perfect.
Yeah, I'm gonna see my family, and then
like
I'm gonna
day.
travel. Literally, no, but it is.
I'm out here going there for like 3 months.
No,
like,
I feel you.
forget English.
No, I feel you.
No. The more I grow up, the more
experience.
I feel like vacations. I think it's just the America corporate mentality, the capitalism mentality, where it's just like, oh my god, I don't have time to spend 2 months in a place for this. Like, when we were younger, I feel like it was so normal.
They're like,
our
we're
parents
gonna
did
live
it.
here for the
But
next
now,
year.
like trips I take now are so like this time last year I went to London and I was there for 4 days.
That's
like I'm like quick in and out, but like it's enough to enjoy it and also not enough to get sick of it. But like I think because now that I think I'm like 2 weeks, that's like I was like that's 14 days. I'm like bro, that's so long.
I know.
But it's so normal.
Nah, in Morocco, Algeria time, that's like a day.
I think 2 weeks is like or 3 weeks max. Is
even
perfect.
how the day is structured, like they be having breakfast at noon, like
they're
taking a midday nap, but they done woke up on the mid like
but during COVID, that's my house time now. My parents went back to how they used to be because like they're not working and stuff and they're like chilling. Now they wake up at like noon, like right before you guys came. Like my mom just woke up. Like I promise, like she literally just made her way downstairs, and like. Like their coffee at like 1.
Yeah.
I'm like, you didn't make lunch yet? She's like, I just wake up.
But
I'm like,
that is like the capitalist mentality. Like we're all like, go. Like I need to get A, B, and C done today. I want to see these sites, and they're like, yo.
And our parents are like, just chill.
Yeah.
Go see your grandma. Like
literally.
It's very like take your time.
They wake up and then they have breakfast and they need to like take a nap from the sleep that they just had.
And then the day's gone. The entire day is gone. From
and that's
them
that's the entire 3 months.
That's the entire.
Oh my god.
And that's why
I think you should go though.
Yeah.
I know. I'm gonna.
Now you're a male.
Let's plan a trip. When this is all done, we'll go. I was
gonna say it's actually fun too because this might have been the time before the last time, but we like when you link up with other Algerians there, it's actually I've linked up with Hannah Dimbri there. I've linked up with Rayana in Algeria because Rayana I always used to see because her family would rent out and because I would primarily go to my aunt's beach house in Aqid, which is like the Bahar area, and Rayana would always like most families actually rent there by the beach because they know they're gonna just spend the summer at the beach. And I would see her, we'd get ice cream. Like when you actually link, because it's cool because you get the Algerian American dynamic, and you see your family, and then you meet their family. Like it's actually fun. So
like I remember,
you should actually try.
I remember seeing my cousins from Jersey when we were in Algeria in 2013, 2012. I forgot what year I went, but I remember I was so happy to see. I was like, oh my god! I was like, guys, like I was like bonded. I'm like, there's no McDonald's. Like, what are we doing?
I think
like
definitely like some of my best memories in Morocco are being younger when like all my cousins would go, and because we were so young. People weren't like doing their own thing. Now everyone has like a job and school, and so you can never coordinate.
Maybe it'd be good because like I feel like with COVID, obviously in the beginning we kind of did disconnect from normal life, but I feel like going there would really disconnect because like you're not in like the same format. Like can you imagine spending like this time like in Algeria or like Morocco? Like I don't know how it acts.
Time like slows down.
It really does. I don't think I'd be able to do it
because I'm just so
and they're like on heavy lockdown. Like it's on another level.
Is Morocco specifically on heavy lockdown?
Well, not as much.
Are your borders closed again, or are they still open?
They're open. I mean, you can fly. Yeah. But it's just like because every day there are new developments.
It's not the same.
You just don't know if you're going to be able to fly back. Like it's very ambiguous.
Yeah, oh my god.
You don't want to take that risk
for sure.
Now our parents though, like they went from imagine living there. Like it's like our parents like that was normal to them. Yeah. And one day they were like, nah, bro, we're going to America. You know what I mean? I just want to. If I could go back in time, I want to know what Algerian or Moroccan North Africa who started it. Like who especially in the Boston North Shore area. I want to know who was like, yeah, Boston. I can talk from my point of view. My dad came in 1990 first, and he worked and stuff and got money for my family to come in. Then my whole family came in 92. So they immigrated here with 5 kids. I was like, wow. you're crazy. And they lived in the North End for a while, so they like kind of assimilated with like the Italians. And then Revere.
Italians and that's a whole other ballpark. And Algerians in the North End.
Yeah, literally, like,
that's a whole other
like I did not expect that.
It's a weird alliance. In the 90s, the Italian and Algerians.
Yeah, like homies, like the mafia ran deep and the Algerians like kept quiet. Like they were like, we don't see anything. Like
really quick tidbit before Moose jumps back into that. I actually knew this too, that the Italians in the North End were mad tight with the Algerians because the Algerians, true to their stereotype, were a bunch of thieves. So they would steal from Newbury Street, like steal these like designer suits and stuff, and they would sell them to the Italians for hella cheap because Algerians got them for free, so it would make a buck out of them. And Italians are like, bet this is Armani for like $20.
Yeah.
So they were mad cool because of that. But in that era, mad Algerians got deported from that.
No, literally,
it was mad funny. Like my dad knows a few people that were like a part of that. He's like, yeah, Italians, Algerians were on some mafia.
Yeah, I know. Like literally, that's why when my dad told me, like, I asked him like, why did you pick the North End? He was just like, oh, we just like ended up there.
Runs deep.
No, like literally, and then like, and then Revere after where we grew up, I just thought it was so, because we weren't a big community, but we're like I'm counting your Zohra. I'm counting her. I promise. But we all like if I hadn't seen you in a couple months, when I saw you eventually, it'd be like I saw you 2 days ago. Does that make sense? You know what I mean? And like we went to elementary school together. Me and you, Zohra. So I guess
you're doing well.
We went to elementary school, and I remember I was like, I saw you as like my sister, because like you were the only like nice one.
Really?
I'm not gonna get into that traumatizing time at that school, but like I remember
like good character.
No, like no, because our moms were friends, and your grandma, they would always come over to my house. Like I would always saw you, but I remember like we were just cool because I'm like, oh, she's Moroccan.
I thought
like
I
we're
was
cool.
mean. Were there moments?
Maybe I blocked out a lot of it from that era, but I remember the good times. I remember
called coping.
Yeah, so coping. I remember the fun times, yeah. But like, and with you, like, I've literally known. I think I was like an infant, like you and your family. So it's just, I just want to know who picked this area, and I'm kind of happy they did. I'm kind of happy we didn't go to like.
I actually think Revere was a good place to grow up. I definitely, well, for me specifically, I don't know about you, but my parents, like, it was like a domino effect. Like, my parents knew someone. They're like, all right, let's head here because we know a couple Algerians here. They said it's a good place to like kind of, you know, pick your feet up. My dad, like, since he was young, was like America obsessed. Like, he's always like, that was always his goal. He's like, with or without you. Like, he told my mom, he's like, listen, just want to let you know before things get like serious. Like,
and your dad is the funniest guy in. I remember he would just say things, and I would just start cracking up. I love your dad. He is so funny.
My dad is tapped. He really is, and he's just too quick. He's one of the most quick-witted people I've ever met.
And that's the best, because like Kami's timing, like he just knows what to say. Like it's just so funny. And your mom is such a sweetheart too. Like I just can't. They literally make a perfect couple, because your mom is so just nice and sweet, and like I'll bake you some bread, and here you go. Like your dad is just saying these witty comments. Like I remember one time we were like watching the news, and he just said something, and I just started crying laughing. I was like, this is awesome. But anyway, sorry, keep going.
Oh, you're good. That's so
domino
sweet.
Effect.
Thank you. Very, very much a domino effect. And then they produced me. No, the domino effect for sure, because literally when my dad, when he was young, he told my mom, he's like, listen, I'm ready to bounce from here. Like, I'm sick of it here, but like, not sick of it like he's like Algeria's trash type of thing, but he's like, I want to grow from here. Like,
better
opportunities. Like, he was a very
growth mindset. He said growth.
He knew. He literally did, because he's like, I know what the outcome of raising kids and stuff here. Like, it's just the same thing. Like, our parents did it, my sisters did it. Like, I know what's gonna happen. I'm ready to go. And he hated Europe and like France. He's like, I'm not going to France. Like, my mom had a sister in France, and she was down to move to France.
My mom wanted
and he's
France
like,
too. Yeah,
France ain't it. He's like, I hate France.
My dad said the same thing. He's like, not
chill.
Like,
America though. He's like, if you with it, cool. My mom's like, you know what? You're a man that knows what you want. Like, why not? So
she really said, I'm with it. If you with it, I'm with it.
I'm with it. So they went to France first to go visit my aunt, and then from France they went to Boston, and then because they knew A, B, and C. But how was yours?
I think for me, like, so my dad has 3 or 4 brothers. There's always like one uncle that kind of like gets left out.
That's so true.
Like high key, I feel bad. It's like,
oh my god.
Anyway, and his kids, I don't even know most of their names.
Hope you guys are well. Hey, we're thinking about you.
I'm thinking about you. I'll call you. So my first, like, I think he's the oldest uncle. He came here first. I mean, they all came like when they were around like 18 for school. So like my uncle kind of like started the trend, I guess. He came here to study, and then like my dad heard about it, and he was like, okay, bet, like I'll go there. And then my dad came with just plans of studying, And then he was like, yo, this is kind of little
kind of a vibe.
We have a
good for him. No, good for him.
Skyline.
So then he was like, I'm not trying to date or like marry a gur. So he went back to the
Shout
homeland.
out this though. Actually, really cool fact. Fatima Zohra is the only one on her dad's side who's a product of a full North African marriage.
That's the thing. Like my dad really popped off when he said, "I'm not mixing the gene pool."
All her uncles married white women, right?
Yes, so except my dad. So like he's
do you want to define gur so people?
Yes. Good point. So gur, we don't really. I guess it's more of an Algerian phrase, but I'm like assimilating over here.
I love that.
It just means like a white person. It's like how Hispanic or people speak
it's
Spanish,
like a
gringo. It's the Arabic equivalent. So basically, my dad got his degree, and then he was like, I'm trying to bag a chick in Morocco. So he made it. It was quick too. I don't even know how they found her.
Oh, so you went to Morocco, got your mom, and he's like, all right, we going back.
Yeah, he's like, we're going back, and she was like, okay, bet.
I love her. I love her submissive.
No, literally, we are a product of female submission. I hate it.
The irony of us being a product of.
I've told him, I'm like, you really like came here with no.
I said that's my
you
mom
should
too.
at least like put up a fight in the beginning or something. But yeah, so he came here, and then they had my brother in '98.
Yes.
And
shout out Taha.
And you came through. You were like,
and
what's
then
up,
I came
guys?
through 2 years later, and I stole the show.
Stole the spotlight.
She did steal the show.
I did.
You're also the only girl, and then you have a little brother too.
Yeah.
So you low-key stole.
So I'm like oppressed, but it's like it's cute because I'm like
in like a cute way. I'm a middle child. We're the same.
But yeah, so my uncles, they all married white women. It's a vibe though, like it's like cross-cultural or whatever. Like when I was younger, I'd be like, like I'm a 1/8 Italian, not realizing that like marriage.
It's not in your
It's not in your
no.
And I'd be like, because I would like go to my cousins to like. I'd celebrate Christmas like with their family, like on some like non-Muslim vibes, and I'd be like, I'd be like,
but did they come celebrate Eid with us or no? That always happens. They never come. That's
I mean, sorry. But I went. That's the thing. Like I was here for the vibes, and so like I'd go to school and be like, like Christmas Eve is about to be lit.
She said, pull up if you with it.
So I like that. It's fun to have like diversity, but my dad was the only one.
Yeah, my brother's wife is Italian, and we do the same thing. We go, but
that's so fun.
That's
super fun. I thought that was I always thought it was interesting that Fatima Zohra that like all of your almost all of your uncles and cousins are here from your dad's side.
Yeah.
Which is like I remember you telling me this, and I was like, wow, that's so dope. Because like I think for you too, but like all my cousins are either here or France. Like I don't think I have like second cousins here, like that my mom's like, but like they're kind of more distant.
Yeah.
But they're not like the cousins that like my aunt's son.
Yeah,
you know, my aunt's kid. Like they're not my immediate cousins, and if I do see them, it's in France or Algeria. Like they're pretty split up. But it's always interesting, like, you actually have to grow up with that immediate family. Or, see, for you, like, that's kind of cool, too, because you still have them in the States.
Yeah.
Like, for me, that was always something so, like, wow, that's so dope. Like, you actually have, like, other, like, family here.
Well, they're not my immediate, they're my second cousins, but they're all in Jersey, but my only immediate cousin that's not in Algeria, she's in Paris. She's in France,
France. They're gonna be
so that's why I was, like, it's, like, kind of funny, because, like, I always grew up calling, like, I'm Rayana, my cousin. Because, like, we literally would attach at the hip as kids. So in high school.
Moms being best friends.
Yeah, like, I feel like any Algerian cool, that's my cousin. Like, I bet, like, if we were younger, I'd be like, it's my cousin. You know what I mean?
I'm like, are we related?
Yeah, like, literally. I don't know. I mean.
Like, your whole dad's side is here, which is so interesting.
But it's cool because, like, we kind of all had different experiences growing up.
Yes.
Like, so my cousins grew up in Miami, some in New Hampshire, which isn't that far, but it's like a totally different culture.
Experience,
and especially because they're the half-white cousins, so it's like a different dynamic with parents.
Great segue, actually, to our next topic. Good one. Do you have a podcast? You know what you're doing? I don't know what I'm doing.
I'm so glad you brought
She
this
literally
up.
just did it by herself. Yeah, so talking about experiences. I just thought, okay, well, the main point, I wanted to have you two girls on just because I wanted two different perspectives, because Algeria, Morocco, one love, one heart. But literally.
One love united.
No, literally.
Against us.
And I was like, okay, I'm a guy, so like I want to know. So I'll just start off with me. I'm the youngest of 6, firstborn in America.
Wow.
Hashtag spoiled. So like my mom and my mom had me like way little. My closest sibling.
I was gonna say there's an age gap.
Yeah.
No, like high key, you should have turned out a Republican. No. What's wrong with you? Like, why are you a liberal? Like, you should be.
You had everything handed to you.
You should resent immigration. Like, you're like.
Shout out election day today.
Yes. Yeah.
Shout
literally.
out Biden, Kamala.
2020. We got you guys. No, but so like I was saying, youngest of 6, and my closest sibling, she's 10 years older, Sada.
Yes.
So I they grew up, since they all immigrated here, they got like the first couple years of immigration is not fun. It's, the struggle and you work your way up. Yeah. But my older siblings always come at my throat. They're like, you had this and this and that. You didn't know what the struggle was. I'm like, you're like, I'm sorry. I'm like, I didn't choose a time here to, be born.
You're literally white America.
No,
I'm sorry.
No, they're like, you got to play.
They're like asking for reparations. You're like, I didn't do anything.
Like, you got to. No, like, they literally were just all these things. Like, they were like, you got to hang out with your friends and, like, you spoke English. And, like,
how dare you speak English in America?
They were like, you weren't an ELO student. You don't know the. I'm like.
So they came relatively older then, like, I want to say...
Fatima, my oldest sister, she came when she was 12, 13.
Okay, so it was all around, like, the preteen.
Yeah.
Like, during development.
Vital important, yeah.
Vital years, they switched their lives. Yeah, literally, so what
street cred for that.
No, sure. Honestly, like, that's why when I was growing up, I didn't grow up with, I didn't want to say only child, because my sister Fatima, she had a son a year and a half after I was born.
Which is so funny, because you're so close in age with your nephew.
Yeah, and I was an uncle at a year and a half, so, like, so my sister's so Arab. I mean, actually, we're not going to say Arab, we're going to say Algerian. We're going to get into that later.
North African.
But, like, so she had 3 kids, and we were all around the same age, so I kind of felt like they were I never saw them as, like, you're my nephew, like, I was like, they're my siblings. Literally. But
I'm your uncle.
I always thought that was so funny growing up.
Everyone always
said
that.
It never makes sense. You're like, he's not his uncle.
They're like, Ashraf, you aren't? No, what? And I'm like, guys, I don't know. But no, they would literally always laugh because, no, seriously.
I don't know.
All my siblings are like, your Arabic is so bad. And like, all these like white friends of yours, like, why don't you have any? I'm like, guys, like, I don't know. I knew our culture from my parents and from being in an Arab home, but like, at the same time, like being born here and being so separated from them,
it's
it low key was almost like an only child thing because I had a whole different experience from them, and plus being a boy and like Algerian word.
That's actually so interesting.
Yeah, it is. That's why I was like,
it literally was like you were an only child.
Yeah,
they had such a different experience.
Yeah, like they my sister. Think about it. When you're like 10, for example, like you're not grown, but you're a kid. You're aware of your surroundings.
You're already part of who you're going to be.
Yeah,
like when you're older.
My sister was 20.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like she was like starting her life and stuff. My closest one, the one closest to age.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just always thought I think by now we're all very Americanized. But I want to know, like, as a girl, and like from a Moroccan point of view too, I just want to know, like, what was, because it's 3 girls, and you have an older brother and a younger brother.
Yes.
And you're both
3,
yeah, 3, and you're both middle, and you guys are middle
we
child.
have that middle child energy.
We do.
Yeah, well, no, tell me about that, either one of you. Like, what was that? Just start from like day one, from like when you were a kid.
1997. No, for me, it's weird. That's why I was like super interested to hear your side, because mine was a bit different. Obviously, it's 3 girls, so me and my sisters are actually really close in age. So
Algerian, I'm just saying. But like
one after the other, baby.
Like the 3 daughters, and like, sorry, keep going.
Typical. No, yeah. So my older sister is literally a year and a half older than me, and then my younger sister is 2 years younger than me. So like we're very one after the other.
Respect.
And so we grew up very close that way. So we essentially, by the time we were, I think, like end of high school to college, we all had like the same, like we were at the age where you kind of all have the same friends too. Yeah. Of course, when you're younger, like elementary to middle, like there's gonna be a little gap in between. So we were kind of our own person developing that way. But I think that us being really close in age and us being girls, all 3 girls, it was definitely its own upbringing in itself. Like, of course, you have the strict dad, like, oh, you guys are girls and you can't be doing this, this, and this. But we always say this too. Like, we make this scenario every time we get into an argument with our dad, where like if we had a brother, you'd let him do this, and then
I'm that brother,
and you're the brother that does everything.
Literally,
we literally have this like, person that we're like, hey, well, what if Abdul Karim was here? Would he be able to do this and that? And then he's like, well, I have daughters, so clearly we don't, like, it becomes like, because the gender, even when you're all girls, like, there doesn't have to be a brother there for you to know that there's a divide, because guys can kind of do whatever. We see other people, and you know. So that's why
I'm like the poster. No, literally.
And we have this thing because we know that like our culture is super like gender classified. Like a lot of, like, this is from our cousins. We see this everywhere, where guys have way more of the freedom, and so that's something that we kind of like. I think as Muslim American girls, we internalize it, and we also like are constantly like trying to be like, bruh, like we can dismantle this now. This is not, and that's why I was like, it's interesting for me because we're only girls, so like at the same time, I grew up the way that I did without having to compare it to a brother.
Yeah.
But I kind of, for me, it really was like the more I got older, the more freedom I got. Like at that point, like you're driving and all that stuff. Like it's gonna come with freedom just based on age. But I know in certain scenarios, like in certain households, that the people have brothers, it doesn't come that way because the brother is still very much present. So you know that there's like an actual division between how you're raised and growing up, especially like someone like you who's like the youngest, but you're also the only boy, and then in your year at least, and generationally, so you're kind of like on your own I guess, and you grow up the way you did, and then you get your freedom because you're already a boy, like as opposed to being the youngest girl. I think it'd be a lot more different.
It's funny you said that. That's literally what they would always throw at me. They're like, you get to do anything I'm like, I'm going to my friend's house. Like, what do you like? I never saw it. I'm like, what are you talking about? But they were so much
more like, they came from Algeria, and they were such like the time period at the end. I think your parents probably were stricter because they're new to this country. They're younger, and like they know how it works now. They broke the mold. They know how America works now. They figured it out with mashallah like 5 kids. So they know that for you it's smooth sailing. Like they knew exactly what struggles they had to encompass. So it was way more easier for you, which is probably why you get them coming at your neck because they had to struggle a little bit more. Yeah, for sure.
I don't know. I feel like for me, so my eldest brother, me with the grammar. My eldest brother is
AP Lang.
2 years.
AP Lang was awesome.
Oh, you did too.
I did.
We all did it. You did it.
I love that for us.
She was like, I know.
No. I was like, for sure, Samantha Wilkins. I had with your sister, Raja.
You did have my sister.
Oh wait, did you take it junior year?
Yes.
Oh, I was a senior.
She loved it.
Loved you. No, loved you. She's like,
she goes. She doesn't love me
has a little sister. And she's
so
great. That's how she met you. And I was like, I didn't even know this kid. I knew her brother first.
So this is what I was just gonna say. So like, my brother is 2 years older than me. So like, I obviously you internalize certain like gender differences as you grow up, seeing it in your own scenario, but also just from like other people. Sure. So like, I would as a young child, I would always like just protest and be like, I'm not cleaning because I'm a woman. Like, and my parents would be like, your brother
She's been an activist.
No, I've been. They're like, your brother just did the dishes. Can you just wipe the table? I'm like, and I won't because Elizabeth Cady Stanton during the women's suffrage. And they're like, just go,
just leave,
just go. But
I love that.
We were so sad. Like, 2 years is kind of a big difference, but like not at the same time. But in
when you're older, it's not.
When you're older, it's not. But growing up,
when you're a kid,
they could always use the excuse of like, oh, your brother's older, that's why he's able to do certain things. But I'm like, I know you're out here like discriminating against me. Like, I will evoke Title IX.
CPS?
No, that CPS, my favorite institution.
Wait, what's CPS?
Child Protection.
Oh, I'm an idiot.
every like North African child that threatens that, they're like, damn, you duke. They're like, no,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
My mom's like, yours.
Pass me the phone. I want to talk to them.
She's like, take him right now. Literally.
No, my mom's always like, you're so annoying, they will bring you back. Like, I have no doubt in my mind, like, you're coming back tomorrow, so call them. But yeah, so, like, we did have certain differences that I always would, like, amplify, I guess, or I would, like, make a hyperbole out of them. Sure. That probably worked against me because then when it was actually real, like, it was, like, covered up by all the
girl who cried wolf. That's what it was. Yeah, every single time.
But I do want to bring up a point real quick before I forget. There is a gender... give me a smart word. I don't want to say gender... Disparity. There is between that. But do not get it twisted. Algerian women are probably the most strongest and like
even
Moroccan. I'm so sorry. I literally look at you because the Algerian flag is right behind you. It's just, I'm sorry.
Algerian Moroccan women for sure.
Probably the strongest, most strong-willed, will not crack under pressure. Like just so. Don't get it twisted. Like don't think because like I feel like a lot of like people who aren't like culturally aware of like certain things think like Arab women are like submissive.
For sure.
Not Arab, but you know what I mean. Like just like in that tense, Mina, like very submissive. But like I've seen my parents argue I think twice my entire life. My mom is the intense, like passionate, loud. My dad's more like, yeah, sure. Yeah. Like reading his like Quran, and he's like, okay, yeah, sure. And then, like, but then she'll like quote something from it, like when they're arguing, and she'll be like, I know, like, but
the pettiness.
No, literally, but. Don't get it twisted like that. It's straight up like they might be strict on their daughters. Like I just always thought I'm calling you out. If there's ever 3 Algerian girls, like they know, I don't know, I'm not.
No, talk it. I want to hear it. Yeah.
It's like they're gonna make sure they know how to cook, they know how to clean, they're good, they're chill, they can take care of themselves. Here's the thing, this is a man talking, I feel like so stupid.
No, go on.
I don't necessarily see that as a bad thing. I see it as a bad thing when you make a woman think that that's all she's worth.
I agree with
you. Know what I mean?
For sure.
Like, establish your kids, even your sons, teach them to take care of themselves one day. Don't let them know that you only cook and clean.
Yeah.
No, you cooking for yourself.
Yeah.
And then and grow into yourself and do what you gotta do. I just thought that was always a funny stereotype because, like, even in Algeria, like, if you have three daughters, every guy is trying to marry one of them. You know what I mean?
They know, like, it's like a woman household. So
yeah, it's like they're all set. They don't do anything.
But I think, like, things are shifting. Like, even my parents' dynamic. Like, my dad used to work at, like, the Marriott when he was in college, like, here.
Which I love that he came for school and did that.
Thanks.
Like, no, you don't hear those stories. You only hear they came. Like, no, sorry, keep going.
No, you're good. I was just gonna say, like, when he was in college, like, obviously just coming here at a young age, you have to have a level of independence. You have to know how to cook and clean. Like, these are just basic human qualities and skills, I guess, that you should know. So he knew how to cook, like, even to this day. Like, he's always cooking and just being present in the household, like a living, breathing member of this house. Whereas when I go to Morocco, like, my aunts, their husbands, literally, it's like they're living in a hotel. Like, they've been hotel guests for their entire lives.
Yeah, I hate
like,
that.
Some of my aunts, like, can't even go anywhere without their husbands because the husband will stay home and he'll starve. He can't even make, like, an egg sandwich. Like, it's actually ridiculous. And the way that starts is because you have a low expectation of them. It's like, oh, I don't have to cook or clean, but I'm not going to do anything. And I'm sure that's how it was for you growing up. So, but obviously now, like, culture is shifting, and I'm sure you're going to have those responsibilities, like, going forward. But definitely when
Wait, so I just got so confused.
No, like, you right now, like, probably as a younger male child, like, you didn't have any of those responsibilities.
Oh, no, I did.
Oh, he did.
No,
he
did. No, like, yeah, my mom did not joke around with that at all. No, like, no, I did. It just, I'm not gonna sit here and say, like, I mopped the floors all day in the house and fold the laundry.
I mean, none of us did.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
Yeah. No,
I wasn't out
she
here
looked right at me and didn't know.
I helped, obviously, but, like, I'm not gonna sit here and say, like, I couldn't be like, okay, Mom, I'm going to so-and-so's house. She'd be like, okay. Like, she didn't say, like, no, you have to, make your bed and the living room's dirty. We have guests coming over. She'd be like, okay, bye.
I have a question for you. Was it expected of you for you to, like, wake up and clean this, and this, and this, like, as it was for, like, I feel like us, like, girls, like, they're like, okay, well, you're not gonna just sit at home and lay around all day, like, get up and clean. Like, as a guy, was that expected of you? Because for a girl, I feel like it was. Like, they don't want to see you as, like, a...
The way that you're hesitating, it's,
Yeah, I mean, like, was it expected? Like,
it's definitely, like, a parent's dynamic. Like, because I know guys that it's not even expected of them.
Yeah,
They're not going to touch a thing.
I know guys that their sisters make their bed.
Yeah.
No.
I'll actually, like...
No.
I'll
like,
actually...
it's, like, guys, it's not even...
on them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it was
like,
not even
I don't even know.
Yeah. No, I think my dad was more of, like, it's like a respect thing. Like, if your mom is cleaning, like, ask her if she needs help. You know what I mean? He never was, like, I never felt like I woke up and, like, I have to... I'm going to be straight up. No. I mean, the answer is yes. There was no expectancy for me going to my house. But my parents did instill, though, like, you live here. If your mother's doing this, ask her for help. If your sister's doing this, ask her for help. Don't just walk away. If your mom is having people over.
Respect.
You know what I mean? Like, but
courtesy thing.
Yeah, but I do. It was probably... Was it the same for... I mean, like, was it expected for you?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
But, like, again, a big part of it was, like... my dad would always say, like, you can't just sit there on the couch and your mom is, like, over here, struggling in the kitchen. I'm just like, go help your girl. Like, why are you asking me to do it?
Go help your shorty.
Shorty is looking really stressed and mopping over there. Why don't you give her a hand?
I know,
like,
right?
let me relax for a minute.
Well, at the same time, would they expect your brother to do that? They wouldn't look at your brother to help him, would they?
Well, the thing is, like, they low-key would. Okay. But I think, I think they would.
It's not the same.
Like, he would definitely be expected to, like, clean the kitchen at a certain time. But when he would not, like, when he would say, like, no, I don't want to, it wasn't like like, I would be telling my mom, like, yo, follow up with him. Like, yo, like, he didn't clean the kitchen.
Make sure he responds,
and then,
for the duty he had to do.
And then when I do that and my brother hears it, he's like, I'm not doing it at all because now you're trying to get involved. So then I have to end up doing it. So it all just backfires.
Got you.
But no, what I was going to say was I think, like, gender roles are evening out because women are, like, obviously we're getting more educated. We're entering the workforce. So it just doesn't make sense that, like, the woman would
We
occupy the domestic sphere completely, and outside the home, like, kicking ass in her career. Like, the man is going to have to contribute. And I already see that, like, within my own home. And I think it's going to be more evenly split with our future, like, relationships, marriage, and stuff.
I agree, too, because we're raised...
That's how we're ending it. Sorry, keep going.
We're going to end up marriage. Everybody's not gotten married except us.
We're going to make a point very clear. Okay, wait, hold on. Real quick. I know you're about to say something, but I have a quick question. As a middle child... Yes. And you're a middle child too, so like how that must have, was like
my sister
is like Raja the favorite, or it was like Sada, like did your mom have a high expectancy for Sada, like you're gonna be this and be married and you're my poster child, like
this is really
and are you like the rebel? I always saw you as like, I saw Sada as like Minnie thought that like she was just like her, like absolutely. She like was just gonna be her. You were like the cool like I'm doing whatever I like, not doing whatever I want, but like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna do something
within
I want.
the confines of gender rules.
And like,
you're doing whatever you want.
No, but like Raja, shout out, Raja. When we were kids, like, she just, I don't know. When I saw her in high school, she was a completely different person. When I think when me and her were kids, she was very like shy, funny, goofy, like
we're
laughable.
Talking shit about Raja.
No, I'm not talking. No, I love Raja.
No, she entered high school and she's
so whack now.
No,
she switched up.
That's not what I meant. I meant like when we were kids, like she was always shy, goofy, and fun. I would always be laughing with her. And then when she got into high school, I was like, you're making me laugh.
Don't listen to this part of the podcast.
Literally. No, but in high school, everybody... This is a mess.
I'm so interested to hear
like, when I saw you in high school, you were exactly what I thought you would end up being when you were a kid. Raja, she was just like makeup and like fun and like cool. I was like, oh shit, like you're cool. Like
she went from goofy to cool.
She evolved.
No, not shitting on her. I love her. I'm just saying
that's my work right there.
Yeah,
like, me being her sister.
Yeah, I'm just saying like I just want to know how, in your point of view from being like in your family, like is that correct? Was that how you viewed it?
Yeah, so definitely being the middle child is interesting because like it's the role where you're actually an older sibling and a younger sibling at the same time, which is very interesting to learn both parts. You know what I'm saying? So like I had someone to rely on as an older sibling, which was Sada. And Sada, again, like you got that correct. From her youngness, she was always like motherly.
Like a model.
Yeah. She's a model, like, and it's funny for her because like mashallah, like her whole life panned out. I feel like the way it should have been. I always say this about Sada too. Like I feel like she went to school, went to college, graduated, got a job immediately after. Got like all the role that you needed to perfectly. And like
literally because the thing is, same thing with my brother.
Yeah.
Like, so, like and the whole.
Literally, exactly.
There's so much to unpack.
She's like, we're the best of friends.
But also like the fact that your sister and my brother both like studied something like super like dependable in terms of like
they're gonna have a job.
Yeah, like in terms of like livelihood or whatever, you know. So like they did all
both,
that.
Like, moved
they
on with their lives.
And we're over here like a mess.
But we're so funny, and that's what counts.
No, like I go off.
Yeah, so that's why. So for her, like it panned out that way, where it's just like literally Minnie thought that like just like my mom. She's definitely a lot strong-willed, like a lot more strong-willed than my mom is a very like patient, nurturing mother, and Sada's just like you'll know if I'm tight type of thing. But she like I don't know, I feel like she's like the American version of what my mom would have been had she like been raised here, which is interesting. So there a lot of that like strong character comes from being here. So she like panned out
your
like
dad.
Or my dad too, yeah, that's very
I'm
true,
you
like,
giving
tough
credit
character.
to like the West.
So sorry, literally my actual parents. She's literally like that. Did everything correctly. I feel like, and then my younger sister, I feel like is a lot more similar to me, where she is kind of going, like I'm a very go with the flow type of person, and I kind of like figuring out, and like I've noticed like Waddy is also like that, like we're very similar in that regard, and we've also gotten like closer too, because like one of us is missing, so I feel like we, in that regard, we're very similar in like how we pan things out. But for me, I feel like I don't know, it's interesting because I feel like I was like the cool older sister to Waddy. Like if she was like Sada was always like she'd have to hide stuff from Sada. Like she always felt like she was the motherly one, and for me like she felt
I can
more,
see that.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? But like we also, as we grew up, we became closer. We're not really doing that. Was literally all high school. So we're too close in age for us to like be messing around like that. But for me, like I felt like at the same time, like I was cool with Sada in a sense where like I was still like an older sister, or like Sada would get mad at me like, yo, you're not being strict on her, and so, like, I was always just like the two like in between. So it was really interesting because I feel like it's literally middle child syndrome. Like, you don't know exactly where you belong.
Yeah. Did you have the same thing?
And younger.
Yeah, I felt like, I mean, like I was just saying earlier, I feel like our older siblings both have like their shit figured out, and we're just kind of like we're hanging floating a little bit, kind of trying to figure out what we want to do with our lives. Yeah. And it's, I guess, because it sets the precedent. Like, there's an expectation. Like, okay, your brother did this and this and this, and
so
look at where he's at now.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, just wait on it. Like,
that's exactly my life.
You're like, pray on my downfall. Just watch.
Literally, and my sister's the same way too, because my sister up and go, the whole like, okay, what, your turn now.
Yeah.
Like, what
no, waiting for you. They're like
hello, and I'm just like, all right, let's be easy, everybody. But I think this is the exact same thing that you said. Like, there's an expectation set of you because one sibling already did it, so it's like you're next. What do you have in store?
I think like our experience is a little different because of the age difference. Yes. A little bit. Yeah. Or maybe the gender difference. Because I felt like you and your sisters were always like very much associated with each other. But like when
I always saw the three of you.
Yeah, but like for me, like my brother and I had a lot of the same teachers. Yes. Like, we knew some of the same people, but no one ever put two and two together, and he was like such like an outgoing, like very just like everyone loved him and knew him kind of thing. And then I guess I was
like
just
a low key outgoing. Yeah, like he wasn't like super extra and out there, but like everyone knew him. Yeah. Like his dynamic is very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. And I felt like I was like the like boring, like shy, studious one. That's like the image that I think I had, because a lot of people would be like, you're his sister, in the most condescending way. Like one time I actually cried. Like, I hate to admit, because we don't cry, you know that.
We don't. Emotion is.
But I did. I cried because I literally had someone literally came up to me and was like, "No way, are you? Wait, there's just no way. Like, are you serious?" And I was like, "Yeah, like damn, am I that far up? Am I that unlikable? God damn." So
it's literally the expectation set, and it kind of doesn't allow you to be your own person because this is so-and-so's little sister or little brother type. Yeah,
so I was just like, we're siblings, whatever. And then by that time, like, he had already graduated, so like there wasn't really enough time to.
I mean, I feel like that's probably why you're a lot more like out there and confident too. Like, you've kind of molded yourself into your own person.
I don't think we were ever like I never felt like I had to like rely on him for social skills or anything, or vice versa.
No, you kept me in check when we were kids. I remember many times in class you'd be like, you're not doing your work. Like, you literally would be like, you're
low key. I wasn't up. I'm not even kidding. No, that's why I was like, when earlier you were like, you were nice to me. I was like, was I?
No, I know. I remember. Okay, no, hold on, real quick. I remember just 2 seconds. That's why I told you right before we started recording. I was like, I always saw you as like my sister too, because like you're Moroccan, and like we had all of our classes together and stuff. But we're no, literally low economic status. No, but I remember just like. I remember this eating like a chicken sandwich one day. You were like, "Oh, that's not halal," like, and you were like, I remember this, and I was like, "Fuck them!" Like, no one's like, it's fine. Like, no one's here, no one's watching. She's like, "No, I'm gonna tell your mom like next time we come up, like watch." And I was like,
"This is terrible." No. Wait, how old was I?
We went to third to fifth grade.
Okay.
Yeah,
and
this was last week.
Literally. And then no, but I remember this vividly, so we can move on. But I remember this vividly. We were in 5th grade, I think. 5th grade, and I don't know, I forgot what test it was, but it seemed like so important. Like, you were always wicked smart and just had your ish together. I was like crying, and like, I remember one day, like, I don't know what it was, but you came up to my desk and like sat in the chair in front of me, like turned it around. You were like, you slammed the packet on the desk, and you were like, I promise you. You like slammed the packet on the desk, and you were just like, okay, Ashraf, you can call me Moose, Ashraf. She was like, which I don't know why you said earlier you didn't know that name, because like I remember you saying it,
no,
like I promise. And you were like you're not paying attention, like you're gonna fail, like your mom's gonna be like, let's do this together, like come on. And I was like,
what a boss.
I was like, okay, fine. And then I think I did good. I promise.
Yo, from day one, Fatima Zohra was gonna end up with an alpha. Like, there's no way anyone's gonna be submissive.
And then we went from that to getting in trouble in tech class talking about Fergie because of cry. I don't know why you.
The range in this.
Literally, and I was like, I don't know that song. You're like, no. Dude. You were like, you know this song. Like, stop lying. Like, I know you know the song. It's like, you remember that?
You were like, yeah.
I was like, yeah, I like you love that song.
Like, you got that though. But I'm shook.
Promise.
It's great. I 100% believe you because I think I used to be like but I helped you get your shit together.
Yeah, no, I promise you did. That's why I'm like low-key, I turned
around, I slapped the packet and I said, we're gonna get to work.
Yeah, because I was by myself.
Like her yesterday.
I had, literally. I just hated elementary, like I hated like emphasis that school and that experience. And like I remember you and three other people I was like cool with, like but you literally like just came and you saw me not doing it, you saw me like dozing off or whatever, and you were just like, no, like it's
wait.
You were like, let's go. You were like, you're not gonna fail this. You were like, your mom is gonna get mad, and like you know what she said last time.
A supportive queen.
I was like,
I'm shocked. Okay, I'm glad I wasn't like being rude. It was
you probably were. I just blocked it out. No, I'm kidding. I just blocked it out. No, I promise.
Good memories.
But moving on, I'm really excited about this next time. I'm just really happy.
Ooh.
So, I'm gonna give them a shout out. There's this podcast I found out because I don't want to get plagiarized soon. There's this podcast I stumbled upon. I don't know where it was. It was either on TikTok or Twitter, but it was these three girls from England, and two of them are Moroccan, one of them from Iraq, and they basically just talk about almost what we're talking about now. And the topic they brought up was how North Africans kind of don't fit in the mold of Arab identity, African identity, European identity. And I just kind of wanted us to break that down real quick because, like we were talking about earlier, where we're from geographically, I think is low key slept on. Like it really is. Like we're in like the Mediterranean. No, like dead serious. Like I don't know. I'm gonna shut up for a second. Like, what do you think? Like, well,
I mean, I definitely like I get the dilemma because I even experienced it like right when I'm applying for stuff and it's like, oh, what's your race? And then you're just like, oh my god, like I'm African American. No, I'm not black. My ancestors were not part of the transatlantic slave trade. Yeah. But also like I'm not white because I don't look it. Number one, like my religious identity, things like that. So I've always been like, I just say I'm North African. So even if there's like an other,
really always.
Yeah, because I don't want to check off African American or black because I don't want to take that away, spot from someone who's actually like from that background. So I'll just put North African because I think it just encompasses my identity, culture, language, and religion-wise. It's just the easiest way to go because it's very specific to that region, and that region is so unique because of like the Berber history, the language. Like our dialect is just wild, different, and like mixed in with like French and Spanish and all these languages. So I just say North African just so I'm not associated with anything that's not similar, if that makes sense.
Yeah. How about you?
I agree. Same. Anytime there's an other box, that's the one thing I'm gonna write down or put because the options that they give us just don't. Like, white they do not speak to me. Like, white does not speak to me. I will never, ever get looked at first glance and be like, oh, she's white. Like, I've never in my life gotten that. And it's funny because, like, culturally, I also feel like we're in a place, like, we're in a constant identity crisis in general, let alone on a census or on a piece of paper. Because we don't know. There's so many different complexities with, the North African region. We're often grouped like as Arab with the Middle East, which I think there's a huge cultural difference between the Middle East and North Africa. And anyone from the Maghreb region, like Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, and Libya, will know that Middle East isn't very accurate. In terms of humor and jokes, and like those TikTok were like, oh, Arab TikTok, and like we understand them, we know the humor, but like a lot.
No, well, we understand them.
They don't understand us.
Gets me infuriated. I'm like, you know what I'm saying.
But that actually segues into what I was going to say next, because at the same time, it's almost like, I don't want to speak for all the Middle East, but generally speaking, it's almost like they don't want to understand us, and because there's a Middle Eastern superiority complex over North Africans, we're not Arab enough, or we're not like real Arabs because of geographically and culturally how we are, and they don't understand us. And like I've gotten those little like, oh, you guys don't even speak Arabic, or like, what is that, French? Or like, it's very like condescending, and it's like they don't even really try to understand Darija or anything like that. And if it's not like Arabic, then they don't kind of claim it at all.
That's why it's funny that they want to talk shit about that. But like at the same time though, like if we were talking about Morocco specifically and like our Western presence in tourism, like a lot of the symbolism regarding like the MENA region comes from Morocco. The food, the music, the clothing, like it's very visually representative of that region. So to sit here and say like, yo, your culture ain't that's not fair. And it's like it's just not factual.
Absolutely.
It just always presses me like not Palestinian. I love the Palestinian people. They never give me crap. It's one of the Egyptians. I'm gonna be straight up.
This is an anti-Egyptian podcast.
No, like
we love you guys.
No,
we love Muslim.
Yeah.
It's just actually ironically enough, like those experiences I have where they're like, "You're Arabic isn't Arabic." It's usually with them.
Yeah. The
but
Palestinian support every Palestinian I'm like cool with. They are like, yo, Algeria, Morocco, like high. You know what I mean? Like, cause like.
I actually understand the Arabic too. I think
and like they're always like, I get it. They're like, I know what you're saying. Any argument, it's always been with an Egyptian. I'm sorry, but keep going.
Like Egypt. I think it's because like Egyptians have this, and it's not like a negative thing. Like it's nationalism can be good when it's like used wisely, I guess. But this whole concept of like Masr, like Dunya, like the mother of the world, and obviously they've done so many great things with like cinema and music. So they've definitely pushed Arab culture forward. But I mean, there's no need for that superiority because like we also have a lot going on
for sure
on our end.
Like,
but
I don't know.
I think that's probably where it stems from.
I think Darija in general just gets denounced quicker because it's not seen as like real,
legitimate.
Like I've helped a customer once who was Syrian, I believe, or honestly she could have been Palestinian. I'm not sure, but she was like, oh, like it's Kalmi Arabi and everything. I'm like, oh yeah, I understand. I was like, I'm min Jazair. Like I was telling her that I speak Darija, and she's like, oh, so it's Kalmi Arabi, and I was like, no, which means, oh, you don't speak Arabic, and I'm like, no, I do, and I can speak it all, but you won't understand. I'll understand what you wanted me to tell you, but and it's just that like it's something that's kind of ingrained. They just see that like, oh, that's not like real Arabic.
But the thing is, that is interesting because we always find ourselves trying to like cater to them.
Appease to them.
Like
my parents do it all the time. My parents will literally shift their entire dialect to whoever.
But again, the Egyptian aspect of it, like my parents and I'm sure your parents both, like they watch those like shows, those like those soap operas. So they picked up a lot. Like Egyptian dialect is dominant because of that.
Because of culture and art. And that's very true.
Like
my mom switched over to Turkish ones.
Yeah.
Like high kilos Turkish one.
Turkish is good, but like the language I just have no idea.
But they're dubbed over in Arabic. They don't even see that.
It's a voiceover in Arabic.
It's just, like, so badly done.
And I'm like, what are you doing?
But no, I've noticed that with North Africans, they switch their dialect. But like I've never ever seen Middle Easterners try to switch to Darija to understand.
There's like a few gems.
Yeah,
I've
never seen it. That's so interesting.
That are like trying to get hip.
It's just weird because like I don't know, like the whole just idea of like where do North Africans, like that region fits in. It's like we were saying earlier, like a lot of sub-Saharan African people, they won't necessarily claim us as African American. Like we were saying earlier, like you don't, like you, I would never check that out on a box that was filling out paper, especially if like, you don't want to take the opportunity away from someone who 100% identifies as black. So like a lot of them might not feel comfortable with us claiming African Americans. Like you don't know the same struggle, you don't know the same experience we kind of went through, so it's not the same.
Historically, it's inaccurate.
Middle Easterns, like we just said, our culture is, which kind of, this is why I don't get mad when people say we're Arab. It's just like, our cultures really aren't the same, like, from Middle East and North Africa. Like, there are similarities, yes, but, like, don't you find it so weird that, like, I don't know, like, rice, for example, like, we don't have rice in Algeria.
That's like a major difference.
Yeah, and like, which they do, but like, basmati rice is always half off when it's like Ramadan and stuff. I'm like, I always notice that. I'm like,
so true.
And I'm like, there's all Algerians here. Like, no one eats this. Like, like my mom buys it.
Why are you selling rice?
Yeah, literally. But like, it's just like that, like culture, like the music, like Moroccan music and Algerian music is similar. Like, it's like the kakabu and the drums and things like that. But the Moroccan music is like lit.
It is. Y'all
like,
be lit.
Sherry it's Sherry, right?
Yeah. It's very like similar. Like
yeah. Middle Easterns is like violin and like belly dancing, and they have their whole other vibe, and it's
like Rai and Middle Eastern music. And the thing is, like, play some Arabic music. If you're gonna like, there's levels to it. Rai and the Middle East is completely
play
different.
English music. Okay,
you want rap, hip hop,
exactly.
It's just culture. Like I was saying downstairs. I just think a perfect term is Mediterranean.
Mediterranean.
I just think Mediterranean makes the most sense, in my opinion, because just that region of the world, like, although it might not be the same religion or culture, obviously it won't ever be on a piece of paper, but like I was saying, people from southern France, southern Spain, southern Italy, Greece, we all look alike. Like, you can take someone from Morocco, Algeria, and Greece, and you don't know who's where, you know what I mean?
That's true.
Does that make sense?
I do get that, but again, like, I think the cultural and religious differences on their end, like,
true. Okay, yeah, true.
Because a lot of like immigrants from North Africa that go to those areas suffer like discrimination.
Oh hell yeah!
So they don't fit in when they go there. I get what you're trying to say. It is like a different way of thinking about it that I never even thought about. But
I would say from like a genealogy point of view. Would that make more sense?
Yeah, but no? I'm thinking, like, in terms of, like, okay, what would we put on the census?
Oh, okay.
That, it doesn't, like, really
define it. I don't know if I'd tie in, like, Italian and Greek.
How we're grouped in society.
Okay, that would make sense.
But it is an interesting...
Do you see where I was coming from, though, like, with that?
That's why
spicy
I said...
white.
Spicy white.
Basically,
yeah. So we're tying in the spicy whites with us.
Yeah, like...
Yeah, no, I think North African just... It just encompasses, like, everything.
I agree.
Culture, religion, and language that is all to ourselves. But obviously, they're not going to give us our own category.
Yeah.
So, what are we going to do? Be stuck with the Egyptians?
But it's funny, too, because, like, Egyptians, I've never even... Unless it's on Twitter, I've never seen Egyptians identify themselves as North African. They'll be like, yeah, Middle Eastern.
No, you're not.
Like you're in Africa. But that makes sense for them because they're in Africa, but identify, like, wholly with Middle East.
But then they want to claim the pyramids. Like, who are you?
I don't know. Yeah, it's like,
they're the ones with the real identity crisis.
Hey, Egypt, we're sorry. We're just going in on this.
No, I mean,
it's just we're confused.
Yeah, like we're cool. Like we're literally like lit. Have you seen our weddings? Like, you know what I mean?
We'd be lit.
I don't know. In the lawnmower in the back. Oh, great. I have to edit this out later. Let's just stand by.
No. We love Egypt. I love all of my Egyptian friends. No hate. You know.
Yeah, so anyways, we do love our Egyptian friends. They're cool. They're chill.
Literally no beef.
We're not going to hate on Egypt.
One love.
Yeah, I'm not hating on Egypt anymore, but...
Before we start...
You're North African. I'm sorry.
No, it's just the cultural differences. They associate more with the Middle East. We don't, and that's what kind of creates a divide, because one appears more quote-unquote Arab than the other. Yeah. And we also just have a lot more cultures that also aren't just Arab oriented, like I think, because we have our natives, the Berbers and Amazigh, so there's like so much more, at least with Algerians I've seen, I think Morocco too, like there's a lot more ties to the natives of as opposed to, like, I don't think Egypt really focuses on the natives of, like, you know, like Nubians and like all the natives of Egypt and all that stuff more, because it's not their culture. And again, like how they advance art, culture, cinema, it's very Arab facing, so for us it's a bit different.
And the one thing that infuriates me is, like, I'm not gonna get like too serious and deep into it, but there is, if we're gonna be sure, there is a racist issue in not even just the North African community, in the Arab community. I personally believe there is, and I just hate when a lot of Middle Easterns will claim that their Arabic is the best or their Arabic is the proper. Number one, I don't care. Like, I literally could care less what Arabic you claim to speak. Yeah. Let's be straight up. The country that has the Arabic closest to the one in the Quran, the closest one, is people in Sudan. If you don't, like, look at, like, literally, like,
Sudan, that is... I would say Yemen as well.
I was literally just going to say, I was like, I heard Yemen, but I didn't know about Sudan.
Yeah, I promise. I was reading up on it, and they were like, people in Sudan, their Arabic is very close to the Arabic in the Quran.
That's, you know what's really funny? I think, like, to this day, from at least the people I've met, to this day, I believe, like, Sudan is the least problematic people I've ever met in my entire life.
And they're actually trying to get a democracy.
My dad loves Sudanese people. He's like, I have never... My dad... straight up, he's like, Saudi, I don't think I've ever had a good experience with them. But Sudanese people, he's like, I've literally...
We're out here creating division.
We're creating division. No. Saudi just needs to work on themselves. But my dad, like, he's like, Sudanese people, like, it's just they're, like, them as a people. Yeah. They're just very, like, humble. They're very warm. They're very just, like, I don't know.
To their own. They keep to their own. Not very problematic.
Can I tell you a funny story about Saudi? So we were at TJ Maxx, me, my mom, and my sister. And whatever, we're in the checkout line, and my mom sees this, you know, some lady in front of her. She's wearing a hijab. She's trying to check out. And whatever, my mom's like minding her business, which she like never does, and she was like, and like she saw that the lady was having like an issue like checking out, like, and she saw her English wasn't good, so my mom was like, oh, I was there once, so she was going to help her. Like, she's done this, man, so I didn't think anything of it. So whatever, so long story short, she goes up to the lady, and the lady's like, yeah, like, he's saying my card isn't working, like, I don't know, she's like, I just moved here from Saudi Arabia, whatever, and then my mom's like, because she's Arab, she goes, I'll pay and I'll follow you to your house and you just give me the money when you get home. Okay. And I'm like, Ma, and the lady's like, oh my goodness, like, are you sure? Like, I have cash in my house, but like, yeah, I live like 5 minutes from here. So my mom like was like, okay, here, it's $200, bam. I'm like, you have $200 in your pocket? Like, I didn't know you like walked around like that, Mom. No, and like, so like, she paid for whatever, and then she was like, okay, follow me. Like, I literally live in an apartment complex 5 minutes from here. So it was like at Assembly Row. We were at Assembly Row. Then she was at the apartments like where like Regina Pizza is and like Kelly's, that area. So I'm like,
Avalon, that's money.
Yeah, Avalon. I was like, oh, so first off, I'm like, okay, Saudi, okay. I'm like,
wait,
you live here.
Saudi's living in
How does she not have cash on her? Just as a Saudi.
Literally, yeah. And then so we pull up and she parks. And she's like, I'm gonna run right upstairs and I'll come right back. I'm like, okay. So she comes downstairs with like like this. What's the name of that chocolate? The gold one in the wrapper.
Ferrero.
She comes like a tray of them, like a brand new. $300, not just $300, and gave it to my mom. I was like, thank you so much. She's like, oh my God, Ramadan is next week. Like, come over with your family. Like,
wow.
So nice, so nice. I ended up finding out she's an heiress to the biggest oil distributor in Saudi Arabia, and she was just here.
I thought his mom was about to get played in the story.
No, literally.
No, I thought this was like anti-Saudi.
No, hold on, no. So like, no.
This is pro. Okay.
Yeah, so like, ended up like shooting. Like, they were only here for a couple months for her husband to do business. So we found this out though when she invited us for dinner. She's like, we're doing it at my best friend's house. She lives in Cambridge. Like, okay, we go to this freaking. They all live in apartments, but like bougie ones.
Yeah, penthouse type.
And my mom's like, she's like, bring your son. So so I go.
Don't tell me you found a wife.
No, no, I wish. So I was like 15, 16, and like my mom was talking like that. My mom comes up and she's like, you're gonna have to eat over here, and I was like, what? And she's like, yeah, like you want to eat outside in the balcony, or like do you want to come like with like the husbands are all like over 60? I was like, what are you? I can't eat with you and Sada. And she was like, no, like their culture, like, you know, like you're a guy, like all the girls sit in here, all the men are gonna sit in here. I'm like, Mom, I know we do that.
Segregated rooms.
We do that too at weddings, of like not at home, you know what I mean? Like
it's interesting.
You know, and then I'm like, I literally like had to sit by myself. Her friend, whoever was working, like came, like didn't make eye contact with me, like brought me the food and like did this and like looked down. And I felt like, and I know in their eyes, in their Saudi culture, that's respect. I felt disrespected when she did that. I'm like, hi. I was like, said I'm gonna go, like she did nothing. And she's like, do you need what? She's like, do you need water? I was like, no. She's like, okay, have fun. I'm like, have fun or enjoy. I don't know what she said.
The way they have servants even in America.
Long story short, this lady, rest in peace, she died. She had breast cancer. Such a nice lady. Such a nice lady. But I remember telling my mom, I'm like, North Africans are like so warm, and like you go to anyone's home, like you feel like you live there. Yeah. I thought you were about to say no. I thought you were gonna be like, no.
I just think like in Saudi itself, like there is like major gender segregation, even in terms of like going to stores, or even if you're at the mall at the food court, there are 2 lines.
Which I hate.
Men, well, there's 3 lines: men, women, families. Even some stores like makeup stores like MAC, only families, single men and single women can't go in alone. So it's obviously like it's just not our style, but I kind of get like the customs of it, like where it's just that's what's normal to them.
Yeah.
But it is weird, like because we're not like that. We're a lot more just like everybody gather around the table. We're all gonna eat from the same plate with our hands.
Yeah, no, like literally. That's why I was just so like I was just sitting there. I remember I was like, wow,
it's a culture shock for
sure.
and
like her son was like 16, 17, like I think it was his first time like out and about, and like he like took me to Starbucks. He's like, so do you go to parties? And I was like, yeah. He's like, are there girls at these parties?
Oh my god!
And I was like,
it's a male only.
Party. He said he went to male only parties. Like, oh, the parties that I went to in Saudi, like it was only male only, and like he showed me these like nice ass clubs. It was all guys, and he's like, and we dance. He's like, and we dance with sword. We take sword and we do. They do like that. It's like the Saudi
Saudi
dance.
Is a whole other planet.
And he's like, can you take me to one of these parties? And like I didn't because I was just like, no, I didn't know. I was scared of what he was gonna do. Like, so I was like, yeah, sure, but like it's just so crazy. I just think because in Algeria, I don't know if your cousins, no issue going out, having a good time. You know what I mean? They won't tell their parents where they are, but I'm just saying, like,
it's ironic though, because we're in Wahran, it's the party city known as. So like, if anything, like we actually have that stereotype of like, you know, going out and partying all the time. We're looked at funny in Algeria because of that. But
I don't know. I just thought like in America, I don't know. I feel like if I ever got caught like doing something like not in the norm, like, you know, it's always so funny. Like real quick, I want to go back to gender roles for 2 seconds. As a guy, one thing every Algerian mom thought I was a drug dealer.
Really?
And I promise you, I'm not gonna.
And
like,
every Algerian mom thinks the girls are prostitutes.
No, like literally, I'm not gonna like.
She's the
literally, we work together. I've been pulled aside like many times, and like I'm calling Malika right now and like letting her know like where I'm like I would be standing outside of the high school like waiting, figuring out what we're gonna do and things like that. I'm like, it was just so. I just found it crazy.
You don't even strike me as a
you're
not even in the slightest.
It was my friends who I hung around with. They would see their group and they're like
so what are you doing?
He's one of them.
They're like literally, I'm not even joking. Like pulled aside. One time I was out with my friend. She's a girl. Mind she was lesbian, and they literally took a picture and sent it to my mom. And they were like, "Your son had his tongue down her throat."
What?
And like in front
Look
of
at the picture.
in
is
front
my
of
tongue down her throat?
no, she said in front of Safi, like where all the other Arabs are.
First
I'm
of all,
like,
you wouldn't even do that.
I was like, number one, we don't
individual.
go to Safi. If you are from Rivera, there's some drama with Safi. I'll tell you guys off mic. You don't go to Safi. I'll tell you later. We go to Sayada. We go somewhere else. Anyways, But
shout out,
isn't that just so
unproblematic? So yeah,
but at that point, that's it's funny. That's like not even like a gender exclusive thing with our community. We're just so special. We do it to both of them. Where our parents, or like the parents of the community, are
watching each other's kids,
watching and critiquing each other's kids, and
not their own,
and at the same time, they might aim their own kids, which is kind of like evil eye their own kids because they're like. They think their kids are so superior and they're out here focusing and critiquing on other kids, and I'm like, okay, well, you're not really focusing on what your kid's doing right now. But at the same time, I genuinely, with everything in me, could care less about what any kid is doing, what their parents are doing. Like and then the thing is, when that kind of like energy gets shifted to like us or people, like I'm like, bro, like, when's the last time I've talked to you? Like, you're hitting my mom up, you know what I mean? Like, it's so like it's a very surveillance-based community, and it's just a very just toxic mentality. Like, oh, look what your kid's doing. Maybe you should know this. Like, cool. Let the parents.
I think it's like a mentality of like we need to maintain our sense of community and keep people in check. Yeah. Obviously, like that's just not okay. And I find that like parents that have the most unproblematic kids don't do that. Yeah. I find that the parents that gossip have the most problematic kids.
Agreed.
They're just so toxic in their own home in raising their kids and also dealing with other people.
I'm gonna say a story. I literally got like face to face with someone's son like about to fight him because like the mom was like literally like yelling at. She basically was claiming like I just did something which was absolutely not true, like in front of my parents, and like I know her son. Yeah. And the things he does, and I was like, all right, if all bets are on the table, like, let's go. And I just said it, and, like, he got in my face, and I got in his face, and I was like, buddy, like, no, this is not gonna happen.
Yeah, like just don't go there. Like,
yeah, you know what I mean? Like, it escalated to such a situation, which I'm not even a fighter, I'm a lover. Like, it just got to that point all because, like, someone's mom just didn't, like, mind her own business. Period. And that's what my mom said at the end of the thing. She was like, worry about your son, Mike. Our kids aren't friends. We're not friends. Like, mind your business. And, like, I can't even see my mom doing that to... Like, if my mom saw it, she wouldn't, like, oh, Amina, Asmaa was, like, so... Ugh,
like you're bored. Like, you're genuinely, you need to get a job. Like, you're sitting at home and doing... Like, your kids have all grown up. You have emptiness syndrome, and now you're trying to talk shit about other people's kids.
It's
grow up.
It's just so pathetic.
If everybody just focused on themselves, like, we would be a better society. In general.
Like, we would thrive as human beings.
Like I'm gonna shout you out, but like Zohra, like you said in Yusuf's video, one common thing the Algerian community shares is what? Our low IQ scores and low economic status. Yeah, in the generation above us. But like, yes, I think we're growing, like our age, our generation, but that is a thing. That's sad because
I already do see like sort of like the way, because we're not turning out exactly like our parents. Like, we have the influence of our parents, but we also have the influence of being raised here and creating our own mindsets. So I always think about that. I'm like, I wonder how our kids will be if like we're in that middle like ground of where we like our kids are gonna associate more with the land that their parents grew up in, just like we associate with the land our parents grew up in, but we have this growing up. I don't know. It's very interesting.
It's just like uncharted territory.
Yeah. So we're like the first generation to actually like contribute to that. So
great segue, because now we're talking about marriage and our careers to wrap up this thing. So I'm just gonna say straight up: do you see yourself marrying an Algerian, or a Moroccan, or an Arab? I don't know. I'm gonna if I find someone a girl who's interested in me, then we'll talk. But like, so specifically an Algerian or Moroccan, I don't. My mom already has two lined up. Like, she's just, like, ready to go. She's like, we'll bring them from Algeria. I'm like, no.
I'm dead.
No, but, like, as girls, that's probably been a thought, like, in your head since you were kids.
I mean, I never grew up with, like, the mentality of, like, oh, you need to marry within a certain race or, like, nationality. I get, like, people that...
True, like, your uncles...
Yeah, my uncles did that, and, you know, I definitely, like... I have friends that say, like, I'm definitely marrying an Algerian, I'm definitely marrying a Moroccan, and I totally get that, because they want to preserve that sense of identity, they love the culture and the language, and I share that same love. I just think, like, I also love a lot of other cultures.
You don't need a man to do that.
Yeah, it just wouldn't matter to me. Like, obviously, I'd like to maintain some form of Arabic within the home, like, with my kids and whatnot. It's so good to know a second and third language. Yeah, but... I agree. You know, for me, it's not important as long as he's Muslim. Like, if you share, like, a similar value set, like, all of those ethnic differences kind of fade away, especially because you both grow up in the West and you already have a similar mindset as it is. It doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't really matter to me.
Agreed. It's funny, we were actually talking about this with your mom when you were setting up, and she was just talking about how for her too, like, it's just Deen is ultimately the most important thing, and I think that is something that has come from being raised in the West too. Like our parents, like I know my parents, same thing, like same values. Like it's very, my dad is super like Muslim first. Like he, as long as you're able to hold down the religion and reproduce and create that, more of the religion, faith. That's like that's the most important thing. Granted, they are both Algerian, so they're like amazing. Like when my sister got married recently, and she married an Algerian, and they're like, wow, this is great. Like culture.
Your sister's just doing all the
right
things.
My sister does everything.
She's letting you know, like, this is how it's supposed to be done.
Mashallah, mashallah.
She's perfect.
So she, I mean, and for her too, it's not like she was even looking for an Algerian. Like this was a dude she was friends with for a minute, and then ended up dating. And
God said
she went right to marriage.
I'll cut that out.
But no, like this is someone. I guess like maktub. Like this happened. She's not like, oh, I need an Algerian. My parents want me to get an Algerian. You know what I'm saying? And so for us too, like I value character a lot. Like I think that's gonna come from obviously your religion, your faith, your morals, and that's not something that like if he's like I know our people are problematic. If he's Algerian, that's dope, and if we align in the same way, then that's even better. Cause cool, like we're both from the same culture. It's an easier transition, but it's definitely not a deal breaker if he's not at all in the North African region. It's really
not a priority,
and it's not a priority either. Like it's just really it's a matter of character, value, just someone that you can vibe with.
No, I think because like if you think about like getting married, like so are you 23?
I'm 23. Yeah.
You're 23, so like. I always feel like at that age, like I hopefully when I'm 20. No, I mean like a lot of
you're young.
No, I'm just saying like at 20, like I'm just saying I'm like wow, like in the next 10 years, like I could end up being like married or like starting my like life with like kids and stuff. So I always like think about, I'm like I always wonder who it's gonna be. Like that is what always intrigued me more, not like where she's from, what faith she is.
Same.
I'm not gonna sit here and lie that a period of my life I was like I don't care like if she's Muslim or this or that.
Well, you're also allowed to. So
that's a whole.
Hold on, I don't. Okay, and yes,
as long as your kids are raised Muslim.
Yes, but still, to me, I just think that brings. I don't know.
It does.
Faith
it's not recommended.
Yeah, no,
it's definitely not. Yeah.
Ethnic background isn't a problem to me. Let's have
cool.
you have
culture
this.
Mixing,
It's the religious part, and like I'm not gonna sit here and say like I go to the mosque every Friday and this and that.
Sure.
Like I don't preach that, but I'm not gonna sit here and say like I don't want that to be evident in their lives.
For sure.
At the same time, if I end up being, I'm gonna like look back at this in 10 years and like laugh. If I like end up with someone who isn't Muslim and who is like I don't feel comfortable having. If we end up having kids, them being raised Muslim, I think we should let them learn about their own faith. Like, I don't... in this day and age, I'm not opposed to that. I just don't know how that's going to end up playing out because... I don't know, just growing... Because we grew up, like, religious and, like, that was just an important thing in our family establishment. Like, I can't ever imagine my own kid, like... practicing something else. I'm not not crapping on any other faith or anything. I'm just saying.
I mean, I think a lot of people.
Does that make sense? Am I making sense?
Yeah, I mean, I think, obviously, this new generation, like we're encountering like a lot of new challenges or just like uncharted territory, like we were saying earlier. I just. Like you meet people in school and it's just a different
opinions,
way.
Different perspectives.
Like our parents were all from the same place, so naturally they had a lot of the same, exactly, a lot of the same beliefs and things like that. It's just about what you want. I feel like if you have a vision of how your kids want to turn out, naturally you're gonna want to align with someone who has a similar vision. But it's I don't know. It's a new uncharted territory. And I was saying earlier, like my cousins, like. Basically all on all my dad's side except myself like are all like half white, half Moroccan, so basically like they're all Muslim, but the mom is like Catholic or Christian. And I definitely did see like I don't know, like a little bit of confusion growing up. They had like a greater sense of an identity crisis than maybe I did, because already like as someone that's just Moroccan, first generation, whatever, like you have that struggle of like within the home, and then outside the home it's like, oh, I'm so different. But I think they also had that struggle in the home where it was like, oh, like my parents are two different people, they came from two different backgrounds, and also like who am I in the context of like my peers. So it was, I think, like a double two layers of tough. Like identity crisis. So I mean, but I think things are changing. Like I don't think that's gonna be it's more normal now to like interfaith and intercultural marriages. But again, it's just about what you want and like what you envision, I feel like.
I agree. And to question things, I think it's a lot less taboo to question things. I mean, it's still gonna be taboo because there's religion in general is like a taboo topic, so it's like very very polarizing. So, but like us growing up here, and then people that have like mixed parents, or not mixed parents, them being mixed, two different parents, two different cultures, that in itself again brings up a bigger identity crisis. But I think that I think it really depends on you as a person. Like I feel like me and Fatim Zahra are super similar in like how we think. Like I think a lot of our own character kind of derives from the morals are really like, it's not even like we're very like Islam is the answer, and I never want to be like that for my kids where I shove religion down their throats where it steers them away from it. But it's like a lot of my morals and how I see things kind of stem from the religion, and that's just something I was raised with. And exactly, honesty, like principle, character, and I realized that ties a lot to Islam and the principles.
It's like, where do we learn it from our religion?
And it's like my parents are that way too. So when that's instilled in me, it kind of like makes me appreciate the religion more because those are like the founding I guess principles of the religion. That's what ties me to that. But like a lot of people will not be so quick to spread or like have their kids or want to decide or whatever because they learned it differently. So they're like a lot of their morals aren't going to come from religion. They just know, oh my God, I have to pray, I have to eat, I have to fast, you know what I'm saying? So they're just looking at it as like a chore.
Yeah, and I think too. I think the parents that have maybe like the best kids that don't have as much of an identity crisis or that are more like firm in who they are and like their identity are ones that led by example. So like there's a big difference between just like preaching but also practicing like what you're saying and like living that. So when you see that as a child, like, oh my God, like my parents like aspire to a really high character, like they're very honest people, they don't lie, they don't cheat, they don't they don't lie on forms so they can like get free stuff or whatever. Like it's like how they live their life. It's not just like, oh, like whatever, we're gonna pray or we're gonna like read this, or it's more of like your lifestyle. So and I think like that's something like you bring up a point, like I feel like and we talk about this a lot, is just like as a third, I like to call us like third culture kids. So like it's like North African, we're gonna start using that term. North African, American, and then like what's that third thing that we're like trying to create? So like taking the best of all aspects of our culture.
Yes.
And like talked about this, the best in terms of like you want to talk about religion, like you're taking like the high character, like the characters and the morals, and like kind of trying to create your own like comfort
balance
zone
of both.
Of like this is who I'm comfortable being anywhere, like not having to be someone different when you're with your parents versus when you're with your friends. It's like you kind of create like an identity that you're comfortable with. And I feel like that's I don't know, I feel like we talk about that a lot.
But I think that's like we talk about this a lot because it's like that's constantly how we're trying to grow and be, you know what I'm saying? Like we're obviously learning so much about ourselves just growing up. We're all very young too, so like I think it's in general like that's like the goal with ourselves, like being completely comfortable and knowing your identity. I think.
Did you both went to Arabic school growing up, right?
Yes.
Did how like what age did you stop going? Do you remember?
I think we went to the same Arabic school at one point. I went to a couple, but I think I stopped going when I was like 11, 12-ish. Like I stopped pretty young.
How about you? Do you remember?
Yeah.
I kind of stopped young too, like maybe I don't know. Like 12, 13 maybe. Yeah.
Cuz I got pulled out of it.
Oh,
I got pulled out of it.
Really, so I was actually kicked out.
He was like, actually, they hated me.
No, because it was the one behind Stop and Shop. That one.
We're not gonna say any names.
We're not gonna say I don't even remember the name.
I actually remember the name.
There's the one above Xfinity. Anyways, but I asked a question that they didn't like. And, like, literally the reaction was, like, ridiculous. And my dad was like, no. He's like, I'm paying you. So when my son asks a question, you answer it. I think I literally was, like, 9 or 10. And I was like, how do we know, like, how do we know God's even real? Like, what does he look like? And, like,
curious
for a little kid, it is a very valid question to ask.
You're a visual learner.
Yeah, exactly. And, like, I remember the imam, which is, like the Muslim priest, the imam was like, literally, like, stopped the whole class, like, got up and, like, made a scene and, like, screamed at me, and I was like, what? I remember, like, that was the first time, like, there was multiple times where I would just have a question, like, I was curious, like, I was just like, why did, to get religion, like, why did God favor, like, Muhammad? I was like, why was it, like, why him? Like, so, like, just things like that, and he just was just like, because it, like, because it's in the book. I'm like, it's not a good answer to give someone who's curious. My dad was like, no. So then my dad kind of took the mantle after and just did it himself. And what I love that my dad did was, instead of him just reading me like the book and like telling me the stories, he kind of emphasized like the principle of it. He's like, this was done for this reason, so like don't lie. This was done for this reason, don't cheat. Like stay true to who you are. That's more important to me than getting the entire scripture. Where I don't.
Where you're not even understanding.
I don't sit there and recite the words. That's not my job to know it 100% properly. My job is, for me personally, I just want to know the morals of it and why I want to believe in it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, like, what you were saying earlier about, like, taking the good from each of our different identities, I guess. Like, I think it's important for parents to, like, instill certain values, but the most important thing is leading by example, because you can't drill like certain information. A lot of it is like experiential knowledge. Like you have to go through certain things, or at least observe them through other people to say like, okay, now I see why that's a better option for me. I'm gonna implement this in my life, and it's just like a very like trial and error. Like, okay, this I did that. Not that's not the vibe. I remember being taught, or I remember seeing my parents like dealing with this situation in this way. Now I get that. So you kind of have to develop that like on your own, that like sense of self. And I do agree, like that experience, like being in that Arabic school, like that, like that's not the like a good way to teach anything, let alone religion, which is something that's so controversial. And that especially being like Muslim in America, like you're going to be asked about these things, like you should know it like in the best way. And
sorry, I want to cut you off. I think that you brought up a good point too, because like I said, not to get like too super deep, I remember like that experience kind of made me almost shun our religion, I guess, for a certain period of my life. Because
that's
like
normal,
yeah, because I remember one time the elementary school we went to, I remember I was sitting down and like there was like kids outside playing recess, and whenever like someone like screamed, like someone fell or whatever, and they let out like a huge scream. And I remember this boy like walked up to me. I'll tell you the name after. He like walked up to me. And he was just like, that's what Americans sounded like on 9/11 when your people did that.
Wow, yeah.
I literally was like, what do you say? You know what I mean? In the moment, like, you know what I mean? Like,
what do you say? Like, that wasn't me. I don't know who those people
are. Yeah, exactly.
Like literally no tie to you whatsoever.
And that's why it's so frustrating when like things like that happen and we're like expected to like, denounce it or just exactly.
Yeah.
Like, what am I condemning here? Like,
exactly.
I don't know these people.
So that's why I just remember, like, that was right same time period, like, so I just told you, right, like, my dad pulled me out of Arabic school, and I was like, yeah, it's like, screw him, like, he's a jerk, like, he yelled at a 9-year-old kid, like, and then that's when after, I kind of just, like, I don't know, I kind of just took it my own way, and, like, like, I just think everyone, like, because, like you said, religious is such a controversy, everyone has their own...
I mean, it goes hand in hand, where it says, where they say, the religion is perfect, the people aren't. It's just, like, it's simply, like... our religion teaches us so much that, like, I mean, obviously, like, alhamdulillah, like, I feel like we're in a place where, well, personally, I'm not gonna speak for everyone, but, like, I feel like I'm in a place where, like, of course I was born into it, and you're gonna question that growing up, and that's so normal to question it. Like, you're a human who's curious, and when you don't get the answers that you were looking for, like, obviously that's gonna lead you to more questions. So, essentially, what that is, when you learn to understand and actually align with it, that makes you more confident in that, obviously. So I think people have a way of screwing that up. Anyone that's teaching incorrectly, anyone that thinks they know the answer and they don't, like very holier than thou complex.
It's always the most religious, like, moms too.
I also think, like, and we've talked about this before, like the idea of like the way that like God is taught to be like this very like angry, like wrathful, like destroyer, like
you don't get taught enough that you don't have to go to hell for everything. He's the most
like there's a different paradigm, and I like that needs to shift in terms of like how they teach it, but like whatever, like you're not gonna go back in time, so again, like you're saying, it's just about like figuring out like
for sure
what sits well with you.
I almost feel like we were being taught it by people who didn't even fully understand it. In my point,
or
I feel
fully
like
implement it either.
Yeah, I feel like they might have they might have memorized like the scripture
or understood it in the wrong way too.
Understood it in the wrong way, like they memorized the words. I mean, like they knew, like they could tell you any passage, any paragraph, but do you actually know like what is being like said? Do you know like the philosophical point of view of this? You know what I mean? I don't know. I just always thought that was something. In the future, I'm never gonna like shove down my kids' throat, whoever I'm with. Like,
100%.
It's just, it's not. it's enough problems within our own community. Let's not even just go and spread that out even more. You know what I mean? That's why, like, even, like, and now, like, the last point I want to make in this episode is, like, going on, like, career-wise is, like, as two North African women, like, I don't know, the best way I can envision this scenario in my mind to you guys is, like, imagine this. It's like you have Asmaa walking into an office for an interview. You have Zohra walking in for an office for an interview. Asmaa has, like, curly hair, and she's, like, cool outfit. And she's like, yo, what's up? And, like, Zohra has, like, hijab, like, modest, like, got everything together. She's ready to go. Like, you can clearly tell, like, she's Muslim and stuff. Like, when you go in for an interview, like, do you think that that's going to be... First of all, do you think that's going to be an issue going on in the future? And in your family's point of view, do you think your career choice is...
In terms of like
a smart word, like in terms of
being visibly Muslim.
Yeah, like in like a corporate, not even just Muslim, just like not white. Like in like a corporate point corporate point of view, like you and Asmaa go in. Like Asmaa's not white, like so they're already gonna be like, ooh, like some people, not everyone. Some people are like, ooh. Then you're gonna walk in with the hijab and stuff. They're like, ooh, like you know what I mean, like
visibly people of color.
Visibly people. Thank you. I don't know how to talk. Visibly people of color, and like I can from a guy like you were just saying earlier, like I don't necessarily look Arab.
Shout out racial ambiguity.
Shout
out your Puerto Rican.
Shout out Puerto Rican moose.
Yeah, like literally, like no, like if I walked in for an interview, like you guys are woman also, like that's just I don't know. It's a heavy topic. I want to look at it in like a positive point of view.
I mean, I think like for me, even being in school and stuff, like obviously being visibly Muslim or just like not white, like first gen and whatever. I don't know, like. Sometimes I will say I do walk in a room and I think like I have to turn on a switch in my mind of like super charismatic or like just a little bit more sharp or on point or like a little bit more with it, like just to show like, you know, I'm here too, like I have the same skill set, I have the same abilities. But then obviously it's frustrating because it's like I shouldn't have to feel like I need to prove a point.
You shouldn't have to, yeah.
But I think with any minority that's always a thought in the back of your mind, like there's an expectation that I'm somehow going to be a little bit inferior to whatever white counterpart is there.
Exactly.
So I do think about that, but at the same time, like the jobs that I've had or just like opportunities that I've been a part of, I think like my identity like enhances that. I think like I have something to say. I think I add something. I bring something to the table that's not there. So I try not to have a defeatist mentality because like here's one thing like specifically with the hijab. I think, like, when someone tells you, like, oh, like, you know, why are you wearing that? Or, like, don't bring this into the workplace. Or just anybody that has, like, an issue with, like, people proudly having an identity. It's just, like, when a white man walks in, you know, to the workplace, like, do we tell him to remove his skin color? It's the same thing with the hijab or with your curly hair or what darker skin. It's, like, you never ask a white person to remove their identity. So when I show up with my identity... I'm adding, so I'm enhancing whatever is going on here.
People have the nerve. Like, I just want.
That's actually so ironic. Like, I actually read once that, and this shook me to the core. Like, I literally, in journalism and media, like, we often can't. Like, let's say a person is covering a story about Hispanic immigrants. They're not going to send the Hispanic journalist into that story because of a bias. But why is the white man the objective form of media? White man, like, why can a white man go and just like, and then a white man covering a story about other white people? Like, why is that not a biased thing? Like, the form of objectivity is white people, and it makes no sense to me. Like, that's
because they have like an inherent worldview. Informed by whatever historical or colonial, whatever ideas they have of superiority or whatever it may be.
It's just the standard.
And that's I don't know, that's not okay. And I think like as people that are like not white or you know have like a different background, like we need to keep that in mind because it's always like a trick where you're like, wait, they're the standard and we kind of have to like fit in somehow
to that or fit in or like make a presence more than they ever had to. You know what I mean? Because it's the door's already open for them. We're just kind of trying to pick the lock a little bit, trying to get in. So like I mean at the same time like with your like same kind of concept. I mean, of course, like I am not visibly Muslim just because I don't wear hijab, and that's already like a different obstacle that I don't face that you do, which is really interesting because I feel like I think of us as the same, and it's funny that we have different experiences because there's a hijab lacking. So like you're already looked at instantly. That's an implicit bias. You're already instantly looked at differently. They won't know I'm Muslim until they find out I'm Muslim. Yeah. They might read my name.
They already know you're not white.
Yeah, they already know I'm not white.
Yeah.
They already have these other like implicit notions of me being a person of color.
Oh, the Muslim. She's Muslim.
What's your name? Where's that from? Oh, this is Arabic. Then that'll tie to Muslim. So there's so many different factors that already play into a role of what our future will look like just based off of our name and picture, our name and like how we look, that obviously white people don't necessarily have to deal with or in general. And this is for people of color, this is for African Americans, this is for Hispanics. There's already like a preconceived notion of them before they go in.
Oh yeah.
And so I think that's very interesting. Like for us, I think in our careers, I think we just want to be like, pave the way more for people like us to get in these fields, whether it be media, public health, because I just get so happy when I see people like us doing things, or just people of color doing things, because that already shows that they went through a lot to do it,
I think there's like a big difference also in terms of like our parents' generation, where like they came here, they needed to secure like a good job, make sure the bills are paid, make sure money was being sent back home.
There's no passion in it.
It's just literally survival mode. And then the second generation is like, wait, I'm part of the society. Like, I'm just as American as you. Like, you can't come in this room and tell
Hassan
me.
Minhaj, he literally said that. He's like, you guys did it to survive. Like, I'm trying to live. He's like, this is my country too.
Exactly.
Like, there's something like him being a brown comedian, like, paved the way for like, why am I sitting here all struggle mode? Like, I was born and raised here too.
That's the thing. Like, growing up here, you're like, wait, I'm part of. My English is.
Where are you from?
Even probably even better than like my the other whatever. And that's why
where are you from can be such a loaded question, because it's like, like you said earlier, like, I'm from Revere. Oh no, like, where are you really from? Like that, and it's like I can see people's curiosity be like, because I don't look visibly like what an American or white person looks like, and it's cool because you're fine. I love talking about Algeria, so I'll talk about it. But you should know that like that's also just part of my identity. That's not gonna make me. How do I like even phrase this? Like, that's not my, like, I'm an American too. Yeah. I'm saying, like, that's not the pinnacle of my identity.
That's why I kind of always wanted to be like a low-key Trojan horse, just because like I visibly don't look at it. If they hear Moose, like, they won't ask for like Mustafa. You know what I mean? Like, and sometimes that even blows over their head. Like, oh, Mustafa. Like, they don't know. They're like, oh, your parents love the Lion King, huh? I'm like, no.
They sure do.
Shut up, Mufasa.
Yeah, like literally, that's what they think. Like, oh, your parents love the Lion King.
But our English is bad.
No, literally.
Okay.
I just always found it funny. I'm like, if I ever got a job somewhere, like in like a media company or like whatever, and I just thought it'd be funny if like years in, like 10 years, and they're like, oh my god, you're Muslim? Oh, you're like. I'm like, and I'm like, yeah, and I'm like, you have the most ratings, like, you have the like, yeah, buddy, like, you didn't, because it just proves my point that, like, in a negative point of view, it doesn't matter. In a positive point of view, yes, representation matters. That's when it matters. When you need to have different people of color, like, more women in the workplace, that is when it matters. Questioning in my identity, like, as, like, my ethnic background, it shouldn't be under, what's the word, evaluation for the job. Am I educated? Do I have experience on this? That is what should be.
I'm totally like anti-victim mentality. Like, I think when you walk,
thank you.
when you walk in a room, just like, I'm here and I'm also like highly qualified. Like, you kind of, it's a fake it till you make it type of mentality. But if we like stop playing victim for a minute and actually just like realize that we also have a place, and we have the background and the degree and like the experience, like, that's it. I'm here.
You've been feeling this since 5th grade when you slammed the journal in. I was playing the victim and you said no.
I was like, Mustafa, you're getting it done.
We're like, we are not the victim here.
I think literally. It is. While I do agree with that, sometimes even when you're not even trying to play the victim, it'll end up being that way too because of, racial bias or implicit bias. It's just like, even when you try and you're qualified for that role and you're not sitting there being like, you guys didn't hire me because I'm a woman of color type of thing. That's like true. That is like, there are scenarios where it happens regardless. Like, you could be the most powerful woman in the room, but a white man will get it before you because
100%.
He's the exec son or something like that.
But
you know what I mean? That nepotism there. So
I genuinely like when sorry I cut you off.
No, you're good.
When I like literally I have to like. I shake that thought out of my head, but it does come in, and I'm like, they already. I walk into a room and I already like have 10 assumptions in my head about what people are already thinking about me, and so I'm subconsciously trying to like debunk all of these stereotypes while also just trying to be me and like also just like trying to do my best.
Your brain working overtime.
I'm out here doing OT. Like, what am I supposed to? So it's frustrating, and I agree. Like it does manifest itself. Like, yeah, we don't get as many opportunities and whatnot, but I think again, like just being like, yo, I'm here and I'm gonna do my thing. It does. It'll get you places.
So.
You that fake it till you make it.
I get so happy when people like this is very random, but I really was like, I love this like idea recently. You know Eunice Benjamin, the model that was dating Kourtney Kardashian. Yeah. But the whole shoe that he came out with and how it's tied to his. I actually read the article, the New Balance, and I was reading the article about it because I was like, I'm actually kind of intrigued by this shoe, and he was kind of marketing the shoe because one, he like had a passion, for fashion in general, sneakers, shoes, and he kind of just like on a whim did this, and he's like, I partnered with New Balance because I really wanted to create a shoe that was like important to my identity and to me, and kind of just to further push that representation because again, people are gonna know what they know if they want to learn about it. You know what I'm saying? So if it's not like fully out there in pop culture, they're not gonna take the time to research it. But he's kind of took this shoe, picked like certain colors and features of the shoe to represent his upbringing and his background. Like for example, the inside of the shoe is a dark brown because his mom is from Biskra in Algeria, which is like the Tmar capital of Algeria, and the brown is for Tmar. So he was like, in this article, I was actually reading a lot about it and how there's so many influences from this shoe, but just because that when you're putting these shoes on, you're stepping into the shoe of someone from North Africa. Like the whole idea is to push the narrative of like people from Algeria and this whole idea. And so when he's marketing that to celebrities that are wearing it, I think like he's just taking that role. While of course it's like a money making thing in general. Like he's marketing himself as an influencer or just like a shoemaker, but he's also like, I don't know, shedding light to Algeria, shedding light to his character, where his upbringing comes from. And that just kind of like, I love that kind of notion, and I want to do that in my own like career and workspace, like just so that like I feel represented, and the generation after me is like, yo, that Algerian girl did that, and like exactly. I'm Algerian too, and I feel seen, you know what I'm saying? Like I want to be that.
And that's why I think it's so important to have more of us in sort of like liberal art fields, things like journalism, like art, music, like because like those are the things that push culture forward, like writing and all these things that like people consume and that like informs their worldview. Like we need to be part of that process and not just like a byproduct. You know what I mean? Like not a consumer.
And of course we push to the STEM route because like money and all that stuff. But like, what is that doing for the culture?
No,
if
like
you're just gonna be an engineer?
With all due respect, like we have enough doctors and engineers from our own kind, but also just in general. And that's obviously a very respectable field, but like we need more people to like
push culture. That's so true.
I have an important, but I wanted like before I forget this, what you said earlier, it kind of just like blew my mind because like you were like, oh, I'm gonna go into a room, I'm like, I'm gonna have to turn that switch off. That what you were just saying earlier. If you got
code switching.
Yeah, if you
we love her.
If you forgot, just rewind. But it kind of just hit me like I'm like, it's not that I'm never gonna go through that, but like I kind of like thought for a second, I'm like, wow, I wonder if I ever have that experience. But I think about it, I'm like, if I walk in a room like just the way I am now, like, okay, they might assume I'm not, because like I don't know, like you were making a joke earlier, like you like Puerto Rican moose and stuff like that, but like do people, I want to know, like
it's not an instant thing.
That's the thing, is like
you're white passing.
Yeah, it's like it's your hijab, like that's gonna like okay, she is Muslim. You, it's a curly, she's not white. It's like have I ever had that, and because I'm a man, because I'm not a Muslim woman, and am I ever gonna have to experience that? I think unless they know my full name and like I tell them, you know what I mean, then
like first glance
it's just not a thing when you walk in the room. Maybe when they get to know you they'll have a bias, but I don't think it's like you walk in the room and you're like, wait, they have a certain.
That must be really annoying.
Which is first
annoying,
glance
but
is everything. That's literally gonna set the standard for anything moving forward.
That's like.
But I think like something that's like annoying to have to deal with is something that's worth it.
True.
Because like we're in the process of normalizing certain things, like whatever identity, but if you want to talk specifically about hijab, like just more mainstream, and there are issues with that and like the capitalist implications of that. I'm not 100%.
The Nike hijab.
All those, like, of course they're profiting off of us. Of course there's a huge market for those products.
Or just telling Muslim stories incorrectly via TV shows.
That was my question. That's my question. I was like, did you guys see the live action Aladdin?
I did. Yes, I did.
I didn't, but I heard. I've seen a lot.
It was a mixture of cultures thinking it was Arab, and it was just like
Oriental.
They mixed like literally, that. what got me so upset about that is like this is kind of like a good closing point.
Research.
Is like like
just
literally
research.
like it's like you had it's like really the cartoon Aladdin like you got it was like obviously as kids we're like oh my god yeah like he said salam alaikum at the beginning like it's cool.
Did he even though?
It's like the old man in the beginning. He was like salam
the narration. Yeah.
But in
oh my God,
and like
shout out Edward Said.
But like the live action one, it's like you're about to have like $500 million budget on like this huge Disney movie about like this culture. Like you're not gonna get it right.
Get a team.
All
bro.
this money.
And that's exactly what we mean by like hiring the people that know
but,
best.
But where are those people? Like with all due respect, like
right here. My email's tagged.
We're like loading, like we're in the process. But I mean, yes, they need to do better work, and I know there are artists out there. Like I'm not saying there aren't, but we need to just saturate that field. So it's like we're all here. Are you gonna hire one of us?
Yeah, like literally.
You know,
but at the same time, because it might not look like they're here because they're not being hired. You know what I mean?
That's
like they're
true.
not gonna know enough. So what they're doing is they're looking for people that they know, like, you know what I'm saying, they know certain people that know certain people, like a team of writers or a team of the people that did, you know, the wardrobe, the wardrobe.
It looked
was
Bollywood.
a white woman.
It looked Bollywood.
And it was like, so like in that case, it's like there was a tweet once that I read that literally made me laugh, and they're like, what did they say? They're like, oh, our staff isn't diverse in people, it's a diversity of thought. So it's like very funny because like that's literally how they view this. Like these teams are like, okay, it's like Kendall Jenner in the Pepsi commercial. Where was anyone of color in that room to say no, don't do that?
Jamal the intern.
It's like, why'd you do this?
It's
so like it's the lack of looking for people that are in these respective groups, and on top of that, and even if you're not gonna hire, do the freaking research, bro. Look up what is accurate to whatever you're gonna portray.
It's like you took the beauty out of Bollywood and put it in an Arab film. Then you like hired like the actress who played Jasmine. She's half Egyptian, half British, I think.
I think she's half brown, half. Like I think she's half.
Is she Indian?
Half Indian or half Pakistani.
Yeah, she's not Egyptian. She's half Indian. Yeah, she's half Indian, half white. Like, okay, like not Jasmine. Aladdin was Egyptian. Nina Masoudi's Egyptian. Okay, cool. Like you got one down. Making Will Smith the genie. So, okay, so having a black man play the Robin Williams. It was a cartoon.
I think he was the best part of that movie.
Like Robin, it was a cartoon for God's sakes. Like back then, obviously they're not gonna. What if he was a white man? But still, like you're doing live action. Okay, that's fine because Arabs are black too. Like you have, you know what I mean? Yeah. But the music, for example, the only Arab thing I recognize, and it's not even Arab, I would say this is North African, is the tea pop. The Aladdin walked into Jasmine's room with literally a Moroccan tea set.
Yeah. And the fez, the red
fez. And it literally looked like a Moroccan Algerian, like a wedding outfit. That's it. That is it. I didn't recognize, and then dates. The girls like have a bag of dates. That's it. Everything else was either like Bollywood, Pakistani, whatever. But that's in. It's like why?
It's like it lumped all of us together.
It's like it goes back to this idea of Orientalism of like fetishizing like. Oh, like the
Arabian,
the mysterious Arabs and
the mysterious
these prostitute women who are just like a white man's whore. Like it's feeding that whole narrative.
I forgot to say something earlier. No, sorry. Go ahead. No, you made a good point.
But that it also ties to that.
Yeah, I don't. I'm gonna.
There's just this fascination with like the Eastern world and wow, they're so different and so connected with this higher class.
The eyes. Yeah. Have you heard of Morocco and Dubai and the whole thing with the women and how people from Dubai like hate Moroccan women? Have you heard about this?
I think that's like Saudi in
general. Saudi too, like the Middle East.
Stigma.
There is a stereotype. Muslim Moroccan women being prostitutes.
Yeah, it's like I found this shocking when I read this, but like a lot of people have had horrible experiences when they go to like the Middle East, like Dubai or where have you, and they like say they're North African.
You're probably like completely the minute they see Moroccan, they're probably looked at like.
But because I heard,
like she's a hooker.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like I heard like they bring them over as prostitutes because it's like. Well, let's get into like just like background real quick. It's like the African features, the tan skin, the curly hair, like the they have hips and it's like
Saudis are also like. The thing is about it is like again we talked about earlier this like superiority complex of certain Arabs over others like or Arabs over North Africans.
So
and
like
yeah,
Saudi's
it's like
seeing Moroccans as
yeah,
whores. It's like they're beneath me.
Yeah, it's
I'm
like
get what I get.
No, and like literally, it's like, oh my god, you brought that Moroccan whore over. Like she like my husband cheats on me with one. Like that's how they see it.
And I literally, like, I think a lot of Arabs, like the way they associate North Africans is like black magic, prostitution.
Yeah, that's very true.
That's it.
And it's funny too. This is something that was actually literally said. So my friend, there was this Saudi kid like bothering her in her DMs, and he was saying like, yeah, this is what verbatim what he said. She showed me the screenshot. He's Saudi, she's Moroccan. He's like, yeah, you're mad, like you're hot, you're fire or whatever, but I would never get with you because that would taint my bloodline. Like straight up, like your Moroccanness would.
Yeah, that's
dirty my lineage.
Bro, who are you? Like, what are your bloodline?
And what didn't answer? In what way did I ever say I ever even wanted to get with you? In what world?
Oh
but like
God.
that is like a common, and if even sometimes obviously it's not going to always be. So Saudis are pretty vocal, but it's not always going to be like said out loud.
Yeah.
But they have that like
even if
ingrained
it's a
in
joke
them.
though, it's serious.
It's like truth said in jest type of thing where it's like they're kind of beneath us. If you're Saudi, get with another Saudi. That's what it's going to be.
Well, that's a whole issue with like the Gulf. They marry each other because citizenship is
and then they stay within the family, and that's a whole other issue.
Oh, don't even get me started on that. Oh my God, that just. I just thought like
get non-PC up in here.
No, I don't even keep this. I cussed around them, but like I talked about.
Ask you that.
No, it's fine. My episode I did about Disney. We talked for a brief second about the Aladdin film, and I was just like, it kind of brought me like it got me down because when I saw they had an Egyptian guy playing Aladdin, I was so happy. I was like, finally, like something, like give us something. The only thing on TV, oh my God, real quick, Rami, have you guys seen that?
Yes.
I loved it. I loved it. There's this guy. I'm gonna say his name. I don't care. He's an influencer. Subhay Taha. Do you know guys what that is? He is not a fan of that show. And went on this.
I didn't know that.
Went on this whole, and I liked him. I
like a Twitter thread.
Yeah.
There's been such polarizing opinions about Rami.
Like went off. He was like, "This is the first representation we have on mainstream TV about our culture and our religion." And he chooses to hook up with a girl in the back of his car, and who wrote this in? And like, this is disgusting. Like, I don't want going off.
Yeah.
Verbatim, that's not what he said. I'm just being dramatic. But I looked at this and I was like, I'm gonna say something, and I never do on Twitter. I sent him the tweet. I DM'd him and I was like, "This."
Did he block you?
Hold on.
He blocks.
I was like, I honestly am so ashamed that you even tweeted this. I was like, you're probably a huge role model for a lot of Arab and Muslim guys because you promote that on your YouTube channel and stuff like that. I was like, but to sit here and judge a fictional character who many Arab Muslim men or women. They have the same experiences. I was like, who are you to judge someone on the number one, their faith and their...
And his own story. Like,
and his own story.
Time and time again... like he's not hiding anything. Like he's time and time again told us that this is like his life, his story, and what he knows best. Like, I'm not gonna speak the story of someone I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
It's my own tale, and this is what comes with it. And you see Rami struggle a lot because he holds on to the principles of Deen, but like is a Western. Like that's him. And if he is a little bit more like weak-minded than the rest of us, that's fine too. He's literally telling his own story. Exactly.
It's like, who are you to denounce someone? You know what I mean? Like, don't. Number one, it's a TV show. Number two, yes. The creator of the show, the writer, that is from his own experiences. He's writing that's from personal stuff. I understand that. But don't denounce it. Don't be like, this is our one... Yeah. Okay, you're right. This is our one chance. You want it to be crystal clear, perfect, and a lie. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, no. And then he responded with, like... He responded with, like, that's not the point. You clearly didn't understand what I was saying, so I guess you really don't follow me. And I said, and I responded, I was like, no, I do. I just... If those weren't your intentions, then you worded it wrong. Then he blocked me. But
he's
and I was just I just was so upset. I'm like, bro, how dare you? Like, I was just so upset by that. I don't know. Like, same with the Aladdin thing. Like, I just was like, you took the beauty of a lot of other cultures and just slammed them into one. Like, this is supposed to be like an Arab authentic story. I just wanted to see it. That's all I wanted to see is like culture be represented correctly. I'm dying. This is a fun question we can end this podcast with. Did you guys like grow up with like Disney princesses? Like, did you guys watch those as kids or no?
Of course.
What would you? This is my theory. If they're ever gonna do another Arab princess besides Jasmine, because Jasmine, think about, she didn't even get her own movie. It was Aladdin.
Yeah.
If they're ever gonna do one, whenever the creator they get an Arab intern, whatever, I think it's gonna be Moroccan. I bet.
I
only
100%.
because
I mean,
she said
we got
it's
that.
definitely not gonna be Algerian.
yeah, it's not. It's not gonna be Algerian because what do they have like Sheba Delina like in a dress?
I could see either Moroccan or Egyptian to be honest.
Oh yeah.
Egyptian would be a big
well,
one
they
just
have the Prince of
they have
the Prince of
tricky.
Egypt.
Okay, Prince of Egypt. They already have that too.
Yeah.
Right.
I think because Morocco has so many like visual icons.
Symbolic, yeah.
The iconography of like that region, I think, I think you're right.
Algeria will tag along.
Yeah, Algeria. She'll have an Algerian best friend who's like wild.
I hope she does.
Yeah, she's like wild. Like, she speaks a little French. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's just like, ooh.
Morocco's the main character.
No, like Morocco's the main character. Her
been
best friend is from Algeria, and like that'd be funny.
I would actually love.
Her name's like Khadija. I don't know. I just want it to be.
We should write this down.
No, literally. No, they'll probably do like a normal like Americanized name like Layla or something they've heard before.
No, Layla's not even really Moroccan. They should do like.
Fatima Zahra.
Zahra's North Africa.
I know, literally.
I'm trying to. Okay.
I
don't have a character made after me.
I don't know. I just think that if Disney or whatever company was like, yeah, like we kind of ran out of like white people to do, like we're gonna do another culture. Like, I think if they end up doing another Arab princess, she'll be Moroccan. I can't see Algeria because they're not too mainstream unless one writer one day is like, what's this continent?
Yeah.
Like, what's this country in this continent? I don't know, just Morocco, like their culture is so beautiful, the dresses too, the idea of it, like just like that, and like I don't know, I can see that happening. I can see that happening.
For sure.
I don't know. I just think that would be kind of cool, in my opinion.
So yeah, the hope is more representation, better representation coming from us.
For sure.
Yeah, like have
so,
like a
this generation moving forward. I feel like we have we're just more we're not as
And Morocco's a monarchy, sorry. And Morocco's a monarchy.
Very queen, king.
So it wouldn't be we'd have a princess.
Yeah.
No, for sure.
Like she'd be the princess.
I'm literally there. We just need to
she's
make
like, they need to cast me. Like,
Obviously.
I'm here. Like, let's go.
I'm literally waiting.
I don't know.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say just moving forward. I feel like. Again, we talked about this before, but we're in a place where the West is also part of us. Like, this is not something we're assimilating to or adapting to. Like, it's still part of our identity, which moving forward should allow us to kind of make waves in the careers that we're in. Like, we're not supposed to be victim mentality. We're not gonna hold on because we are citizens of this country too. We were born and raised here.
We need to destigmatize the idea that being in the arts, writing, music, producing, all those things.
Forward.
We're trying to
We will have Sheb Khaled do the soundtrack. He will feature on a song.
Yeah.
That's going to be his last hurrah.
That's going to be his last hurrah.
He
thought C'est La Vie was his last hurrah. No, this is going to be his last. The Moroccan.
He's a good combination of Morocco and Algeria.
Yeah,
he's the bridge.
Yeah, look, I just.
He ended all the beef between Morocco and Algeria.
That's just. Come on, don't you think that would be? I just think it would look so cool, the music, the idea.
I think Morocco, I'm not saying Morocco, because I'm Moroccan.
We've been talking about Algeria the whole time. Go ahead.
I just think Morocco has such vibrant colors, in terms of the architecture, Chefchaouen, the blue city.
Yeah.
When you go to the markets, the spices, there's just so much color and texture to play with. I feel like we're at a design meeting.
Agrabah was brown, or a lot of it was all brown and cobbled and brick, brown brick. I think it would be beautiful.
Beautiful architecture and things to take.
The music, they do the traditional North African Moroccan. I don't know why they haven't done it. They did all these Denmark and Finland and Scotland.
They literally think Aladdin did what it needed to do. That's why.
No, it
didn't.
Like,
we got the Arab part out. All right, let's move on to Princess Tiana.
No. Oh my god, I'm gonna get me started on that. Isn't that crazy? We're literally tying this back into
she's
a frog. Yeah.
Movie.
I learned that on my Disney podcast.
Yeah,
they isn't that ridiculous?
Bro, yeah.
I don't know, Elsa and all of them, you can do all these variations
of white women.
Yeah.
But you're not gonna do they can't have another black princess,
And just the fact that Jasmine was not the lead, Aladdin was
the movie
character.
Was Aladdin.
It was okay, same female oppressed, kind of subservient to a man, you know what I mean? She
only her worth if she's married, type of thing.
She's gonna be
you know what should have been about a North African girl? Tangled, because she was fighting. I was any North African girl should have been.
100%.
I loved Tangled, but again, it's white woman
Yeah,
everywhere.
which is, I mean,
Like
Rufus,
the
they were cool. They were cool. Like they fought for what they.
But that was the story of a North African
Mulan
woman.
is like one of my favorites.
Mulan, I feel like did it right. It was
If
one of the only
they,
ones
well,
that
not
did
the
it
live action, but the,
Yeah,
I see live action.
I know.
That was very problematic.
I know.
But no, I think like if they can capture that badassery in a North African girl, that would be amazing.
Real quick, like, would she be like a fighter? Like, what are you envisioning? I can see your head like just turning right now.
Spicy for
like,
sure.
She would be
like,
spicy. She would be out
not
here,
take anything from anybody.
Not take anything. She's not gonna have a man saving her. She's not gonna be no damsel in
They
distress.
can put black magic in it. The villain, yeah, because that's so irrelevant in North Africa. Like,
so.
Zohra.
A witch.
They have a witch. Yeah, she's like
witch.
black magic, just hood in like the Sahara.
Honestly,
yo,
kind of
can you write this down? Yo, Disney, hit us up
notes.
real quick. We're the creative team.
Listen to this later. We're gonna write it down.
Isn't this? I don't know.
Send you an email real quick.
Literally. Well, guys, thank you so much.
Like
I know.
I literally just ran out of ideas. We could have kept going, but
know.
thank you so much for coming through. Please come
Of
again
course.
when we think of
It's so
something fun.
We'll do.
No, literally.
We can talk about anything.
Yeah.
No, we haven't been talking about anything.
I feel like because that's the thing when we talk, we kind of segue into so many different things. Like I don't even think we were just really even flowing with this. Like, things jumped in.
You did a great job.
And I don't even think like the whole first gen immigrant.
We didn't even
like,
fully cover it.
Oh my god, we did it! I can't even name this episode first gen.
But I think that just goes to show like we're very complex people. Like we're not just tied to like that struggle.
I was like, guys, we're gonna be funny and like talk about like our funny stories growing up in like Boston as kid, and like we literally.
We didn't even talk about.
We literally jumped into like, oh damn it, whatever.
No,
like,
we'll do it again.
No, like literally. I was just like in my head, I was like laughing. Man, I can't wait to hear the stories of like our moms and stuff. All right.
Part two. To be continued.
Thank you.
So this is our outro.
Support the podcast. Support your boys. Support North African men out here trying to not be toxic.
There we
trying
go.
to be out here, producing, pushing culture forward through art. Subscribe, like, listen, share with your friends. We love to hear it.
That was so good.
That's better than I ever. I tried to do it 2 times and I couldn't.
I literally was gonna follow up and I was like, yeah, she said everything I needed to say.
I was like,
I'm good. Yeah, that was really good. But
oh my
support
god.
it. Support great conversation and just life and being better people.
Thank you, because we need more of that in this world. Well, oh my god, we did this on election day.
Yes, we did.
So when this is uploaded, we'll know.
I'm very nervous. So we're hoping for the best because our country freaking needs it.
Yes.
Stay tuned for the Civil War.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Our podcast live during the Civil War.
We can do a live stream.
We'll do a live stream in the streets. Like, how do you feel about this? Oh my god, that's so funny. All right, guys, thank you again so much for coming. See you guys soon. Bye, guys.